$50,000 on hand. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Glieber along with Dick Vermeil. Got to be a tough one for both of these ball clubs. Cowboys, of course, come in after playing on the road Monday night. They're on the road again. Is fatigue a factor here?
Well, in talking to Tom Landry, he thinks it will be a factor. He won't use it as an excuse if his team doesn't play well, but it is a disadvantage to come in flying back here after being on the East Coast last Monday. But I think they'll still play well.
Jim Hart will be at quarterback. First time he has started for the Cardinals since November of 1981. That's certainly got to be a factor.
Well, Jim Hart's had some great games in his 18-year career against the Dallas Cowboys. But I tell you, he may be a little bit rusty. He hasn't started a game in a year and a half. I think the guy they really have to worry about in defensing the St. Louis Cardinals is Otis Anderson. He's had many fine games against him. His best game came against Dallas in his opener. He's averaged 5.1 yards a rush against the Dallas Cowboys. They've got to stop O.J.
The weather conditions, the temperature is 81 degrees, but on the field, the artificial turf 110. Could have actually been a lot worse. It was up in the 90s yesterday before a front finally came through, ending what they hope around here. It's one of the worst summers ever. Over 40 days. Temperatures in excess of 90 degrees. Cardinals have won the toss, elected to receive, and Rafael Septien will be ready to kick off for the Dallas Cowboys. And the prime return man, Stump Mitchell, does all the work for the Cardinals on punts and on kickoff returns, and one of the best in the league at what he does. Cowboys have won 8 of the last 9 games between these two clubs. However, here in St. Louis, since 1975, only one game has been decided by more than 6 points. Two yards deep in the end zone. 10-15. Mitchell out across the 20 to the 23. Cardinal offense lines up this way. Hart starting at quarterback for the first time in 2 years. Two outstanding wide receivers in Roy Green and Pat Tilley, and O.J. Anderson, who always seems to murder the Cowboys. The offensive line, with the exception of Dan Deerdorf in the middle, very young. Two tackles there, both in their second year, and Tootie Robbins and Louis Sharp. Hart with 18 years experience needs to throw just 2 passes today to become the 3rd man in NFL history to throw 5,000 career passes. Anderson on the first carry of the day gets maybe a yard and no more. Anthony Dickerson over there quickly, along with Dennis Thurman. Cowboys defensive line, you're going to see the dinosaurs today. I don't mean the age of the defensive line, but the fact that we've got 2 clubs here, both play the 4-man front. That's most unusual in this day and age. However, these 4 getting along in age. The Cowboy linebackers, who have been much maligned this year, although Jerry Tubbs told us that Dickerson particularly has been outstanding the last couple of weeks. And an interesting secondary in that it features 3 free agents and an 11th round draft pick. 2nd and 9. Hart over the middle, wide open is Tilley at the 50-yard line. One of the great pattern runners in the league, Pat Tilley, for the first down in Cowboy territory at the 47.
Pat Tilley's a little guy, but he can run. He's quick. He's a good receiver. He has a good move. Watch him give him a little stick right there. And he breaks away coming to the post area. The ball's there on time. Dennis Thurman comes in, number 32, and makes the hit.
So that gets the crowd to buzzing right off the bat. A 29-yard pickup on the play. Tilley probably runs perhaps as precise patterns as any receiver in the National Football League, and also, as you see, has done well against the Cowboys in the past. 1st and 10 Cardinals at the Cowboy 47. Cardinal offense a lot different this year. We'll talk about that. Hart in trouble behind the line, gets the pass away. It's incomplete at the 27. We get a flag thrown. Roy Green was the intended receiver. Thurman was back there covering along with Mike Downs. And if pass interference is the call, it would give the Cardinals a first down at the Dallas 26.
Everson must have got his right arm on him because his left arm actually came around and hit the football. It looked like a legal defensive play. Evidently, the official saw something different than we did.
The officiating crew headed by the referee, Tom Dooley. Pass interference against Dallas. First down for the Cardinals at the 27. Let's see if we can pick it up here.
Emerson's fooling around up there, number 24 at the right corner of your screen. He's backpedaling. He comes inside on Roy Green. Now watch him reach around with his left hand.
24 defense. Penalties decline.
Tough call.
Pass offense. 26 defense. First down.
So actually 2 penalties against the Cowboys. The encroachment call at the line of scrimmage declined, and the Cardinals take the longer penalty, which is the pass interference. Everson Walls, who led the league in interceptions his first 2 years, has not had a single interception this year, either in preseason or regular season.
But I'll tell you, last week against the Redskins, he had one. He dropped it. It would have been a big play if he had caught it.
19-yard penalty. Anderson to about the 24-yard line. He's upended at that point by Anthony Dickerson, who makes his second tackle of the game. Pickup of just a couple of yards of the play. It'll be second down 8. Now, this is what Anderson has done career-wise against the Dallas Cowboys. He has averaged 96 yards per game. In his first game against the Cowboys as a rookie, he picked up 193 rushing, including a 76-yard dash for a touchdown. Second down 8, nose of the ball just inside the Dallas 25. Anderson fumbles, loose ball, still loose, and who's got it at the 22? Cowboys say they have. And it looked like Randy White might be on the bottom of that pile. Number 54, the Cowboys all-pro defensive tackle, comes up with the turnover. And Dallas will go to the offense for the first time at the 23.
Here comes the pitch out. He's tossing it up there, and Otis does not handle the ball cleanly. And it's battling around there like playing volleyball on the field. Randy White, he's a hunter and a fisherman there. He hunted up the football.
Looked like Clinkscale came on the blitz from the right side, and Anderson was startled to see him there.
He took his eye off the ball.
He certainly did. Timeout on the field, no score early in the first period. Tom Landry, 59 years of age today. I don't think the squad sang happy birthday to him in the morning meeting, but
I don't think he really cares either.
I don't think so either. Cowboys' first offensive possession after the fumble recovery. Doug Cosby is in motion. Dorsett caught from behind the line of scrimmage. Good penetration by Charlie Baker, the left linebacker. Well, after Rodgers gains 206 last week against the Cardinals, you pretty well know the Cowboys are going to test him running. Here's the Cowboys offensive lineup. Certainly no changes there. An all veteran crew. Dorsett over 150 yards rushing last week against the Washington Redskins. And the Cowboys offensive line, again, an all veteran crew. The youngest man there is Doug Cosby, the tight end, who has really come onto his own this year. Loss of 4 in the play. The second down 14. Dorsett sliding off a tackle. Gets it across the 20 out to the 22, almost back to the original line of scrimmage. So Dallas is looking at third and in excess of 10 yards needed for the first down. Cardinals defense, newcomer there, Al Bubba Baker, the former Detroit Lion, manning the left end defensively. And Mark Duda, who is a rookie, who has impressed Jim Hannafin. He's at the left tackle position. The linebackers, Bob Harris is a rookie. They drafted him as a safety, made him into a linebacker. And Cedric Mack in the defensive backfield is a rookie. So we say a lot of youth, but a lot of talent. On 3rd and 11, Danny White from the shotgun is caught. Curtis Greer moving in from the right defensive end. Splatters the Cowboy quarterback inside the 15-yard line, and Dallas will be punting. Greer, of course, was the regular Dick at right end, and when they got Baker, they moved him to left.
Danny White gets the snap. He's back there. He has plenty of time initially. There's a stunt picked up by Rafferty, number 68. The coverage took away the pattern, therefore the rush got to him.
John Warren is the Cowboys rookie punter who averaged 42 yards a kick against the Redskins under about as tough a pressure situation as you could break into in the National Football League. From 2 yards deep in the end zone, Stump Mitchell, who has never fair caught a ball. 45, 50, 45, down to the 40, and the Cardinals with excellent field position at the Dallas 39.
That was a great punt. Great punt.
It was a good punt and a fine return, and the Cowboys are starting this football game a little bit like they did against the Redskins, with the opposition winding up with excellent field position in the early going. We've got 10 minutes and 19 seconds left to play in the first period. It's the Cowboys nothing and the Cardinals nothing. Speaking of birthdays, Jim Hanifin, the head coach of the Cardinals, will be 50 years old on the 21st of this month. Yards on the pass play from Hart to Green. Walls and Clinkscale were back, but Hart just laid it up and let the speedster run underneath it. Neil O'Donohue is on to try the extra point. Benny Parent to hold. The kick is good. And the Cardinals have jumped out in front of the Cowboys 7-0.
See Roy Green come off the line of scrimmage. They're running short and long coverage on him, but Dexter Clinkscale doesn't get over there quickly enough to give him the deep help that he needed.
Roy Green with the touchdown reception. The Cardinals lead the Cowboys 7-0. We'll be back in St. Louis in just a moment. Kicking off far side toward Ron Fellows. Fellows at the 15, up to the 20. Does get across the 25-yard line, and Dallas will put it in play from there. Coming up next on CBS Sports, the U.S. Open men's singles finalist Jimmy Connors faces Ivan Lendl. Lendl going for his Grand Slam. Noticed yesterday after Martina won her championship, she looked at the camera and said, "Go Cowboys." You know, she lives in Dallas. She's a big fan. I think when she grew up, maybe they were Czechoslovakia's team. I don't know.
Maybe that point that Dallas sells, you know, everybody loves the Cowboys, is true.
First and 10. Cowboys at their 25-yard line. It's a low completion figure that Danny White has career-wise against the St. Louis Cardinals. Dorsett on the sweep. Cuts back inside and is really popped as he hit the 30-yard line. Good strong hit by Wayne Smith coming up from the right corner position. And the Cowboy running back. Up of about 5 yards on that play. Redskins lead Philadelphia 7-0. Joe Theismann hitting a 12-yarder to Charlie Brown to give Washington the lead. Interesting to see how they bounce back, because they, like the Cowboys, also playing on the road.
Yeah, but they don't have far to go. That's a bus trip.
Second. Dallas from its 30-yard line. Cosby in motion. Boy, that was close to being a collision in the backfield there. Looked like Cosby almost didn't clear the quarterback in time. The handoff went to Springs, and he's close to a first down at the 34. You made an interesting point on Warren's punt a moment ago. It looked like the Cowboys were a little fatigued. That punt had excellent hang time by Warren.
I think that punt hung in the air from the time that the punter hit it till the punt returner caught the football, about 4.5 seconds. The coverage should have been able to do a better job of covering that punt return.
Well, Ben Agajanian, who tutors the Cowboys kickers, says that Warren is the best hang time of any punter he's ever seen in a Cowboy camp. Third down, actually a little bit less than a yard needed for the first down. Cowboys at their 35, trailing 7-0. Midway in the first period, they drive for the first. I don't believe they got it.
Didn't look good from here.
Ron Springs trying the right side and is shoved back. So the Cardinal defense holds, much to the delight of this partisan St. Louis crowd. And Dallas will be forced to punt.
Last year, you know, the St. Louis defense never gave up 100 yards to a single running back the whole season.
Well, that's amazing when you consider what Rodgers did to him last week, gaining 206, isn't it?
Yeah, well, maybe they're playing more to personality today.
So Warren, 43-yarder the first time in super hang time, and Stump Mitchell, the stumper they call him.
See, he got that ball up in the air.
Mitchell at the 29, out to the 30, 35, breaks it at the 40, 50. Warren finally grabs him and spins him down at the Dallas 44. The punter had to make the tackle. Well, one of the Cowboys' problems in this first 2 weeks of the season has been the play of their kicking teams. Tom Landry very disappointed Monday night, and Mitchell Gets his second great return here, Dick.
Like you say, he never fair catches it, and he takes it right upfield. He attacks the coverage people. The coverage people were not coming to balance. They've got to get down there, break the knees, come to balance, sneak up on him, and give him a hit.
Pontiac has created a car so...
Frank Glieber along with Dick Vermeil. Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. So far it's been all Cardinals. 1st and 10. St. Louis with the ball at the Dallas 43. They lead 7-0 midway in the first period of play. Jim Hart, this time to Wayne Morris. Gets a couple of yards down to the 41-yard line. Will set up a 2nd and 8. And now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. So the Redskins leading Philadelphia 2nd and 8 for the St. Louis Cardinals at the Dallas 41-yard line. It's the tight end Marsh in motion. Anderson for a couple up the middle. Of course, this St. Louis offense has changed. Jim Hart was telling us yesterday it's a lot more complicated, and that's due, I guess, to an old friend of yours.
They have a new offensive coordinator, Rod Dowhower. For the last couple of years, he's been at Denver. He's worked for Bill Walsh. He worked for me at UCLA. He's an exceptionally fine coach, and will do a good job of coaching that quarterback fundamentally from the ground up.
3rd down, 6 needed for the 1st down. Nose of the ball just inside the Dallas Cowboy 40-yard line. Anderson is also the only running back to have rushed for more than 100 yards against the Cowboys twice in the same year. St. Louis shotgun. Hart gets it away. Mike Schumann at the 26-25-yard line. Everything in order. That's a 1st down.
Mike Schumann being bump and run covered right there by Emerson Walls. He comes back in into delay, which takes time. That's why the quarterback, Hart, had to delay and step up inside the rush. He got it off. Schumann caught that ball. For a competitive water skier, that's a pretty good job of catching the football.
I didn't know that.
Look at his hair. You can tell he's a water skier.
All he needs is a surfboard. 1st and 10 Cardinals. Nose of the ball outside the 26-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys, who once again have started off looking flat. One back offense. Hart, who will deliver it quickly. Tilley at the goal line. Couldn't hold it. Had that one and then was stripped by Dennis Thurman, number 32. And Hart thought he had another 6 points. Hart will get rid of that football faster than most people, won't he?
Oh, he does. He plants that back foot, gets rid of it. Here's Tilley coming down there. He's going to make a move right in there with his right foot sticking. He turns Thurman, number 32, around. He looks like he's got him beat. If the ball had been thrown outside, it would have been a touchdown. Fine defensive play by Dennis Thurman.
That sets up 2nd and 10 for the Cardinals at the Dallas 25-yard line. Cowboys going for their 2nd straight victory. Hart under pressure. The blitz that time from Clinkscale came from the right side, forcing the veteran quarterback to deliver the football quickly, faster than he wanted to.
That's a very typical move of the Dallas defense. They get you down inside that 25-yard line area. You get 2nd and long, they're liable to come with that blitz. Force you to throw it quick or get rid of it right now.
Hart's completed 3 of his first 5 passes for 82 yards. As we said, his 2nd pass today put him over 5,000 career. And only Tarkinen and Unitas have thrown more passes in NFL history now than Jim Hart. 3rd down 10. Cardinals from the shotgun at the Dallas 25. 3 wide receivers will go into the pattern. A lot of movement before the snap, but no flag. Hart trying to hit Tilley, and he hangs on at the 11-yard line. Great catch by Tilley, who was covered well by Michael Downs. Number 26, the free safety.
That's tough on Michael Downs because he doesn't normally get isolated in a one-on-one coverage situation. He gets a snap back here. He has time. Dallas is stunning, as you can see in front. Here comes 51. He doesn't get to him. One-on-one coverage right there by a free safety that doesn't normally play one-on-one other than in the nickel situation.
A 14-yard pickup and a 1st and 10 for the Cardinals at the Dallas 11. They can pick up a 1st down without going across the goal line, but they'd have to get it inside the 1-yard line. success throwing goes to Tilley. Tilley to the 5, down to the 2. Gets 9 on the play.
Pops a little quick screen out there. Normally those aren't great plays against the Dallas Cowboys, but they got just enough yards. He's going to take a step down, run 2, pop back, look for the football. Here it comes. Many times the receiver will take his eye off the football when you see those gorillas coming with the blue jerseys on.
Tilley will get a rest. Pro Bowler a couple of years ago. Mr. Reliable. That's his 3rd catch for 52 yards. It is 2nd down and 1 for the 1st down, 2 for the touchdown. Mix up there. As Hart wanted to give it to Wayne Morris, but Morris didn't want the football.
It looked like Wayne Morris went on the wrong side. Broken play offensive. Boy, that's not the time to make a mistake. 3rd and 3 is a long yardage situation, Frank, down here.
By the way, Jim Hannafin told us yesterday, even if Jim Hart throws 10 touchdown passes today, Neil Lomax is still his starting quarterback, and he should be back next week. He has made that decision. He doesn't want to be involved in a quarterback controversy.
I think that's a great decision. Landry's done that himself in his career, and a coach without experience like Jim in comparison is going to do the same thing, and that's the right thing to do.
3rd down, 2 for the 1st down, 3 for the touchdown. Anderson caught behind the line at the 6. Now this is where the Cardinals had problems against the Saints last week. They continuously got the ball close to the goal line, but couldn't come up with the points, couldn't capitalize. And now they'll have to settle for 3. And Jim Hannafin doesn't like it at all, but has little choice.
Coach next to him is Chuck Banker. They coached together in junior college football all the way back to California in the early 60s.
Of course, Hannafin was an assistant here under Don Coryell, then went out to the Chargers with Coryell and came back to replace Bud Wilkinson. So a field goal situation for Donahue, who was 1 out of 3 last week. Very inconsistent. He missed a chip shot about from this distance from 24 yards, but he did hit a 47-yarder.
Well, they have a lot of confidence in him. You know, Jim told me yesterday, if he misses one, I'm disappointed, but I have such confidence in him as a kicker and a person. He's not a flake, that it really doesn't tear me up inside.
Cardinals are calling timeout. With 2 minutes 11 seconds left in the opening period. Why would you call the timeout? You're getting ready to kick a field goal.
I really don't know, unless they had a special team substitution breakdown. You know, I really wonder why they ran that type of play on 3rd down there, because really 3rd and 3 is a long yardage situation in the goal line, and it's tough to run for 3 yards on 3rd down in there when you're in 2 tight ends and a wingback.
Let's give you a rundown on some other scores around the National Football League. Several games in progress right now. Cleveland and Detroit. Eric Hipple threw an 80-yard touchdown pass to Leonard Thompson for the lead in that game. Pittsburgh and Green Bay knotted at 7 apiece. Franco Harris with a 3-yard run, countered by a 71-yard pass from Dickey to Lofton. He's had it again.
Yes, he is something.
Jim Hannafin.
Jim started his coaching career in California, in Covina, California, as a high school football coach. I really love to see guys that have been successful like that to work their way all the way up through the ranks and find themselves being successful in the National Football League. He's really a quality guy, as we found out yesterday in our meeting with him.
Oh, he spent 2-3 hours with us and would have gone on probably forever.
Yeah, he was at Live Oak High School.
You remember his first NFL victory?
Yeah, you bet. It was against me and my football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, here 2 years ago. We were undefeated. Came in here, we're going to beat this outfit, and they beat the heck out of us.
The field goal attempt will be from 24 yards out by Neil O'Donoghue, native of Dublin, Ireland, who formerly kicked for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Aaron to hold.
He's 100% from this distance in his career.
Chip shot is good. And the Cardinals have put 10 points on the board. The Cowboys have nothing with 2:08 left to play in the opening period. Cowboys so far, it's looked like an instant replay of last Monday night at Washington. Dallas has run 6 plays offensively here in the first period. As you look at Ron Fellows, who is back there deep, coupled with Rod Hill waiting on the kickoff. Tom Landry told us yesterday his team looked awful in practice all week. As late as Friday, he said they looked very fatigued, and he was very concerned. We all shook our heads and said, yeah, sure, Tom. And they look a little fatigued.
Well, they may not be playing with the emotion that they will be playing with as they pick up and get going. You know, they always believe they can win, and usually it shows in the third or fourth quarter.
This one will come down to Rod Hill, second-year man. 10-15 out to the 20, and that's it. Well, next Saturday, college football returns to CBS Sports. Great regional action, and many of you will see a battle of two very highly ranked teams. The Texas Longhorns, who, by the way, lost their starting quarterback Todd Dodge with a shoulder separation the other day. If Texas can find a quarterback this year, there will be no stopping them, a lot of people say. Pat Dye's Auburn Tigers, led by running backs Bo Jackson and Lionel James. They always have good running backs at Auburn.
No question. They've had some good ones. They've been playing all through the National Football League, one after another, coming out to start. That Andrews, a great back. They've had many good ones.
Cribbs, Brooks, you name them. 1st and 10 Cowboys. Auburn won last night, by the way. Dallas from its 20. Danny White in trouble behind the line. Sacked at the 16. Loose football. But they say that White was down. Ball was dead.
I think that was Mark Duda that came around and made the hit on him, that rookie from Maryland. They're really high on him. They say he has feet very similar to Alex Karras. His defensive line coach and assistant head coach Floyd Peters made that statement to me yesterday.
It's the second sack on White.
Here he comes, here he's rushing around there, 73. Boom, it gave him a good pop right there. He has great quickness.
He was a 4th-round draft choice. Cardinals went very heavy for defensive backs this year. They drafted 5. One is starting, and another one may be starting before too long. The number 1 pick, Leonard Smith, who has been injured. Not much running room up the middle. Closing the doors, Bob Harris. Tony Dorsett, the ball carrier. Harris, the rookie. Other scores around the National Football League. Giants leading Atlanta 3-0. Cleveland, Detroit are now 7-7. Brian Sipe hitting Ricky Feature on a 42-yard pass to tie that one up. Our score, Cardinals 10, Cowboys nothing. We're in the final minute of play in the opening period. 3rd down, 11. The Cowboys still looking for their first down. White again had to hurry the throw to get it away. Springs the intended receiver, and White is taking a beating back there.
Elo Grooms, number 78, got to him. The veteran from the New Orleans Saints made the trade a couple of years ago and is making a contribution.
Tremendous ovation here for the Cardinal defense as they leave the field.
These fans are excited. I think the players are too, just as long as they don't expend their emotion early.
Grooms, number 78.
At the right corner of your screen. He gives him Rafferty a good slap, knocks him down, and powers his way in there. You notice he used a left arm club, a right arm club. Legal blows because they weren't to the head.
Warren to punt for the 3rd time here in the opening period. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Cardinals double both outside men. Great punt. Super hang time. Driving Mitchell back to the 25. Up to the 30-yard line. And Stump is run out of bounds at that point. Last week against the Saints, they say he almost fair caught a ball. They said the man was down there so fast that Stump actually was putting moves and juking him before the ball came down.
You know, in talking with him in the locker room yesterday, he reminds you so much of Wilbert Montgomery. They're built alike. They look alike. They do a lot of things running alike. It's just that he's playing behind a great running back in Otis Anderson that doesn't get an opportunity very often.
54 yards on the punt by Warren and 6 on the return. Warren started slow against the Redskins, kept getting better as that ball game went along, and he's continued that progress today.
You can see his confidence level is better. That was a 4-5 hang time on that punt.
1st and 10 from the 34. O.J. Anderson tripped up as he crossed the line of scrimmage by Bob Brunig, number 53, the Cowboy middle linebacker, after a pickup of a couple of yards.
If they have the right flex defense called, it's almost impossible to block Bob Brunig, because all the gaps are filled, and the responsibility to turn him loose and let him flow to the outside, and he's so quick, he's tough to block.
2nd and 8 for the Cardinals at their 36-yard line. Jimmy Hart now has taken his place among the all-time leading passers in the history of professional football at the age of 39. He is number 3 behind Tarkinen and Unitas as the gun sounds, ending the 1st period of play. And surprisingly, the Cardinals have dominated. They lead the Cowboys 10-0. Capacity crowd of 50,000 plus looking on as the Dallas Cowboys battle the St. Louis Cardinals. It is 2nd and 8 for the Cardinals at their 36-yard line. Marsh, the tight end, sets in the slot off the left side as they go with the single back offense. Hart back to throw it. Little quickie out to Green. That's what the Redskins did so successfully against the Cowboys the other night. Completion for 7 yards out to the 41-yard line.
Boy, is he an exceptional athlete. You know, he played both ways a couple of years ago, actually having caught a pass as a receiver, intercepted a ball as a defender. Very few people in the National Football League have ever done that. He's a great athlete, fastest man on the football team, number 81, Roy Green.
4th-round draft choice out of Henderson State, just finding his way around the wide receiver position after playing at defensive back. It is 3rd down and 3. And Hart on the beam, hitting 6 of his first 8 pass attempts so far. Regular split in the backfield. Green in motion. Hart to throw it. Wayne Morris, well covered by Bill Bates, number 40. Rookie nickelback for the Dallas Cowboys. Young free agent from the University of Tennessee. It's amazing when you look at this Cowboy roster. They added 8 rookies this year. One of the big secrets for their success has to be the constant infusion of young blood. And of those 8 rookies, Dick, 4 are free agents.
No question. They do a great job of that every year. They know how to select people. Plus, they aren't concerned with how much it costs. They go after football players that measure and fit into their computer programs, height, weight, speed, intelligence, and they come up with some people that aren't always indicated or supposed to be great players in college.
Birdsong. That's a fake. Pass is complete for the first down at the 45-yard line. That's Eddie McGill, who is normally the 3rd tight end. And McGill was really hit. He hung on to the football. Cardinals will have a first down.
I didn't see who hit him, but I saw the contact, and it was a great hit. It looked like he might have injured his shoulder.
It was Cleo Simmons, number 82, Cowboy rookie, one of those free agents we were talking about off their specialty team on this tackle.
Yes, he came out of the up back position right next to the center in that formation, the spread punt formation. You know, I saw this drawn on the board in the office there yesterday and didn't even think about they were going to be trying to do this. Spread punt, everybody's playing for the punt. The ball snapped, the punter shows real poise, starts to make the move to punt, then lays it in there. Nobody covering the up back. There he is. Eddie McGill, number 87. What a thrill that must be for him. He didn't catch a ball last year.
They're going much more to the tight ends. In fact, between them, their 2 tight ends last year caught only 11 passes. And the tight ends, like McGill, are delighted to be back in the offense. Timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. Veteran, long-time St. Louis trainer. Looked like a shoulder injury, Dick.
It looked that way, and that's a shame. You know, he didn't get to catch a pass last year. He works as a wide receiver. Actually went to college on a track scholarship.
Dallas hasn't been close to a first down. Completely blank so far. Shades of last Monday night. Maybe the Cowboys are saving it for the second half again. We'll have to see. Cardinals 1st and 10 from the Dallas 47 after the fake punt works. Tilly in motion. Handoff. Anderson stopped after maybe a yard. You made an interesting point a moment ago during one of the timeouts where it shows up that your team might be a little flat is not necessarily from scrimmage, but maybe first of all in the kicking teams.
Many times you can read the emotion of a team, the intensity level of a squad through how your special teams are playing. If they're really flying and knocking people down and going full bore, they set the tempo for everybody else. If they're not, sometimes that's easier to read as a coach than, say, a line of scrimmage play.
Cowboy specialty teams have had their problem, the last of which was the fake punt. 2nd and 10. St. Louis at the Dallas 47. They lead at 10-0 early in the 2nd period, and Hart has been hot. Little flutter ball is intercepted by Dickerson at the 30-yard line. Looked like somebody got a hand on that one. It certainly sent it off trajectory. It was really a duck laying up there. And Dickerson picked off the interception, and Dallas will take over at its 36-yard line.
We'll see that the ball wasn't thrown that poorly. It was actually batted. And the Dallas defensive linemen bat a lot of footballs. Here comes too tall number 72 up inside there. Number 78, Dutton, reached up with his right arm and batted that ball. Then Anthony Dickerson comes across and picks it off. Hart does not throw a ball that poorly. It had to be a batted football.
12:09 left to play in the first half in St. Louis. It's the Cardinals 10 and the Cowboys nothing. Anthony Dickerson, who got the interception, been taking a lot of heat, but Jerry Tubbs, his coach, says he's played well here the last few weeks.
Said he's played real super and played great football against the Redskins last week, playing well right now.
Cowboys still don't have a first down. 1st and 10 from their 36. White. Now they do. Drew Pearson at the 49-yard line, and that is a big catch for Pearson because it puts him in the Cowboy record book as the leading all-time receiver yardage-wise. He already broke Bob Hayes' completion record, but now he leads Hayes in the yardage department as well. So congratulations to Drew Pearson of the Dallas Cowboys.
He only needs 5 more to go into the NFL as one of the top 20 guys. You can see they double covered him. One defender in the right corner of your screen, number 47, playing him short. He runs a corner pattern in front of the deep coverage man, coming up to make the tackle right there, number 38, Lee Nelson.
Back to live action, swing pass to Dorsett from Danny White, and Dorsett stepped out of bounds at the 43 after picking up about 5. Word from the bench on Ed McGill is an injured left shoulder, and they're going to x-ray it. They don't know whether or not he'll be back.
Well, you can't afford to give him space out there in the open field because that's where he's best. He might be the best broken field runner in football.
Interesting the way the Cardinals are playing. You and I were talking before the game how everybody seems to make Dallas their big game.
No question about it. Dallas cannot afford to play average football because everybody plays them as if it's a playoff game. It's a vendetta to them. They want to get after Dallas.
You speak like a man from experience.
I didn't get after him very often, I'll tell you that.
2nd and 4, Cowboys in St. Louis territory for the first time at the 44. The Cardinals springs through across the 40 down to the 36-yard line, and that will be a first down for the Cowboys. Their second in this drive. Lee Nelson, number 38, and Benny Parrott, number 23, making the stop.
They're picking up their tempo. You can sort of feel it out there. They're moving a little bit better. The continuity of the offense is going. They've got a drive going here right now if they don't screw it up now.
Cowboy all-time leading receiver Drew Pearson. As a result of that last reception, he's eclipsed Bob Hayes, Frank Clark in 3rd place, and Tony Hill moving up fast. Springs. Beautiful bit of running up the middle. What a fine move he made at the 30, got inside the 25, and was finally stopped at the 22. First down. There's a guy operates in the shadow of Tony Dorsett.
He's running right up inside off the Rafferty's block, number 64, and the guard is pulling number 65 block down. Did you see that? Kurt Peterson, he breaks right up in there in between those two people, right in that little bubble in the defense where the linebacker is standing.
15-yard pickup and a first down for the Cowboys at the 22-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Springs can do it all. He runs well, good receiver, even throw it on occasion. White out to Springs to the 15, the 10, and out of bounds at the 8. And yet another Dallas first down. Well, White delivered that football just in time, Dick. He was about to get really laid out.
I think there was a mistake made there. The defensive lineman was not picked up. Springs goes underneath. Fortunately, got it off quickly, and Bob Harris, number 50, the rookie, coming inside out. Now, Bob Harris was a defensive back in college playing linebacker for the first time.
And the Cardinals converted him to linebacker. He is filling in the spot which would normally be occupied by E.J. Jr. Right. Who, of course, has been suspended for the first 4 games because of the drug thing. 1st and goal to go. Dallas from the 8. Loose football. Dorsett can't handle it. And the Cardinals, I believe, have it at the 1. Let's see. St. Louis ball. If it went on into the end zone, of course, they would get it at the 20-yard line. Let's see. Lee Nelson, number 38. Came up with the football.
You'll see Tony carrying the football. It was stripped coming in, so he's up inside. Now he pops it outside, looking for a place. He's got it in his right arm. He's got it out away from his body, and someone reached up inside and tapped it out. And fumbles more often than not go out behind and underneath that elbow. Now there's a dogfight for the football. Lee Nelson, what a veteran player he is.
And the Cardinals will have a first down at their own 1 when we come back in just a moment. And virtually all of that total offense by Dallas was in that last drive. And they come up dry, fumbling the football at the 1-yard line. So the Cardinals 99 yards away, leading 10-0 with 10:17 left to play in the first half. Hart's got his backfield 5 yards deep in the end zone. Trying to run it out. Short yardage for Wayne Morris out to about the 3. To bring you up to date on some other scores around the National Football League. Steinford with a 28-yard field goal. And Buffalo in front of Cincinnati. And Tampa Bay and Chicago are scoreless. That has now gone into the second period of play. Both clubs looking for their first win of the year. Our score: St. Louis 10, Dallas nothing. 2nd and 8. Cardinals at their 3-yard line. Jim Hart, 19 years worth of NFL football in this man. Morris bounces off a tackle at the line of scrimmage, picks up 3 to the 6.
What an effort. Great effort football player, this guy. They consider him the hardest, most consistent worker on the football team. You'll see him drop his shoulder here. Now watch him. He gets the football. He gets it tucked away. Now watch it. The shoulder drop it in there. Real strong. He doesn't look as big as he really is, Frank.
Well, he told me yesterday he weighed 220. I said, I looked at him. I said, you can't know 220. He's all muscle, just like a rock.
He's really put together. Must be an avid weight trainer.
He lives in Dallas and in fact went to the same high school as Harvey Martin and Michael Downs of the Cowboys. Of course, played his college football at SMU. 3rd down 5. St. Louis from its 6. Hart throwing out of the end zone and going for the big one. To Green. Had a couple of steps on Everson Walls, but Hart overthrew him, and the Cardinals will be punting out of their end zone. And Roy says, tell him keep his hands off me.
Yeah.
Or words to that effect.
It's worth a try. It's worth a try. You know, see if they can't con the penalty out of the official. He's coming off. You see number 24 in the left corner of your screen, Everson Walls, playing him real tight. Now, he doesn't have the Roy Green type speed. I don't see anything real illegal about that. I don't think he has a gripe. Just overthrown over the right shoulder.
Don't think Birdsong will be faking it from here.
I doubt it.
9 yards deep in the end zone.
Dallas is going to have good field position. That's a returnable ball.
Rod Hill
returned
to the 40, down to the 35-yard line, and we get a flag, and that could be a clip on the Cowboys. And that will set their field position back to about midfield.
It appeared from here that it was an obvious clip. The guy should have just pulled off and let him make the tackle, because now it costs you the yards right here. Instead of being in great field position, you're going to be moved back 15. That was not the typical pushing penalty, I don't think.
The walk-off by the referee, Tom Dooley, sets the Cowboys back to the 44. And here's the call.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 32 of the receiving team. It's 1st down.
That's Dennis Thurman of the Cowboys. Timmy Newsome is coming to the Cowboy backfield at the tailback position. He'll be replacing Tony Dorsett, who's been given a breather. 8:36 left to play in the first half. Our first NFL doubleheader on CBS next weekend. Most of you will see the Los Angeles Rams play the Green Bay Packers in the opening game of the Twin Bill. Other highlighted games, regional affairs. Cardinal fans get to watch your team against St. Louis, Chicago, and New Orleans, and Atlanta, Detroit, and then most of the country will see the Giants battle the Cowboys at Texas Stadium in the second half of the Twin Bill. And regional affairs late in the day, Philadelphia and Denver. And of course, it'll be John Elway's first NFL League game at home. 1st and 10, Cowboys ball at the 44-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Drew Pearson in motion. Cardinals leading 10-0. White flushed out of the pocket. Lost the football, but they say it was whistled in. White really took a slam in the small of the back from Curtis Greer, number 75, and he is having to flee for his life.
Well, they were trying to go deep to Tony Dorsett to the right of the screen, going deep. You can't see him right now. He may appear. It takes a lot of time. You could see Randy was looking that way. Now here they come in from behind. Number 75, Curtis Greer, knocks it out. He can't see that guy. It looked like a fumble from up here.
White has thrown it 4 times, completed 3 for 33 yards, but he has been sacked 3 times here in the first half. Floyd Peters put together a pretty good pass rush here.
They have 4 people that can rush the passer, and they rush the passer on every down.
2nd and 11. That'll be short of the first down. Great clutch receiver Drew Pearson pulling down the pass from Danny White. They will spot it at the 36-yard line. They needed to net the 34. So they're looking at a short 2 needed for the first down. Pearson has had outstanding success against the Cardinals in the past, as those stats will attest.
Anytime you average 16.1 yards a reception, you're having a great career against a specific team.
3rd down and 2. Dorsett has the first and some change. Finally goes out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. Benny Parent, number 23, chasing him out.
It looked like they quick counted. The offensive line is up in a 2-point stance. Quick toss. Now you can see number 67 coming around there. Pat Donovan had pulled out there to hook. They knocked him out of bounds.
So Dallas on the move once again. Great Cowboy rusher who rolls just about every record there is in a Dallas uniform. He has done well against St. Louis. He has had 5 100-yard games against St. Louis. Dorsett again, this time to the 20. And hangs onto the football after the fumble cost the Cowboys dearly a few moments ago. Well, the Packers and the Steelers not playing much defense in the first half of that game. Dickey has hit Lofton again. He's now hit Lofton for 71 and for 72 yards. Is that something?
Oh, that's unbelievable. But you have to admit they are extremely gifted at the receiver position in Green Bay.
2nd down 5. Ball just outside the Cardinal 20. White trying to hit Timmy Newsom. And again, the pressure applied this time by Bubba Baker, who was in there quickly.
Bob Harris, the linebacker, I think he was dogging. Came in there, and I think he made the hit on him. Little play action, faking up in there, just a token fake. Here comes number 50, got him right underneath the chin. Bobby Harris, the rookie out of Auburn, was a strong safety in college.
3rd down 5. Big play in this drive for the Cowboys. They're at the Cardinal 20. Blitz, everybody's coming. White gets rid of it. Tony Hill at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal. Hill claims that he got over, but he crawled into the end zone. And the official said he was down at the 1. Well, that blitz tells you one thing. Got a lot of one-on-one coverage out there.
No question. He was singled up out there all by himself. Tony Hill, one-on-one. He's tough. He's going to come down there. Watch him give him a little stick with his left foot right there. He's coming inside on Wayne Smith, number 44. Just got up in the air. He's a great leaper. There he is.
It's a great job of using his body to shield himself from the defensive man.
To me, it looked like he scored.
Well, he got up and crawled into the end zone, but the official said no, it was down at the 1. So it is 1st and goal. Springs inside the 1, but the Cardinals hold. It'll be 2nd and goal. Cardinals leading 10-0. They've dominated the Cowboys here in the first half so far. Dallas with its one drive winding up dry in the fumble by Dorsett at the 1-yard line. Cleveland out in front of Detroit 14-7. Brian Sipe has just thrown his 2nd touchdown pass, a 6-yarder to Mike Pruitt. Cosby in motion. Springs drives into the end zone for the Cowboy touchdown.
Just a very fundamental handoff straight ahead. Most kids that play high school football, that's the first play they learn to run in offensive football on the high school level. You'll see him coming off there now. Right, Billy Joe knocks the man off. They're just running right up in there behind him.
Rafael Septien comes on to try the extra point, which would make it a 10-7 ball game. Glenn Carano, who is the forgotten man in the Cowboy quarterback derby, is the holder.
It's nice to have a quarterback as the holder, because if there's a miscue, he can get up and run and throw the football efficiently.
It's good. Septien, who's had a sensational year for the Cowboys, has not missed a field goal attempt either in preseason or in the opening game last Monday night. against Washington. 44-yard drive, 8 plays, took the Cowboys 3.5 minutes to get in, but they've narrowed the margin now to 3 points. Septien getting ready to kick off. The deep man in the formation for the St. Louis Cardinals. Once again, the stumper right in the middle, Stump Mitchell, number 30.
He has a 23-3 average returning kickoffs, and that's pretty darn good. This kind of ball is easy to return if he can get it going, because it's a low kick. It gets there quickly.
From the 10, 50.
Got a block.
Mitchell to the 20, gets outside to the 25-yard line, and is run out of bounds at the 33. And the Cowboys still can't be happy with the performance of their specialty team so far.
Well, the kick didn't help him. The kick did not help him. It was a low-line drive, and it doesn't take very long for that ball to get there.
Coming up next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday, you're going to see Ray Boom Boom Mancini's lightweight title defense against the top-ranked contender, unbeaten Orlando Romero, who is from Peru. Another lightweight action, undefeated Robin Blake, who's a hard-hitting Texan from Levelland, will square off against once-beaten Melvin Paul. It's next Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS Sports. Give the stumper 37 on the return. Marsh, the tight end, in motion. Hart to Anderson, 30, 35, slips a tackle to the 40. Finally drilled at about the 41. I was talking to Hart yesterday, and I said, with all this motion, everything you're doing now, this complicated offense, I mean, who do you look like? He said, Dallas. So you're looking at a mirror today, offensively.
Dallas was really the first team that really got into the multiple formations, the movement, the shifting, and everything. And when you coach against Dallas, you have to recognize the formation they're in at the snap of the ball and ignore a lot of the things that go on prior to the snap.
Second down, 4. Cardinals at their 40-yard line. Hart, good success so far throwing the football. He's had 1 picked off, but he's hit 8 out of 12. From the eye, Anderson taking the pitch, and O.J. stacked up at about the line of scrimmage. You know, we've mentioned both of these clubs play 4-man fronts, but they're different 4-man fronts, aren't they?
No question. Dallas runs the flex defense that all the fans have heard about, that you and I have talked about. Everybody talks about it, with the flex reading gap defense. St. Louis Cardinals run a 4-down lineman, but it's an odd defense, meaning there's a defensive lineman on the center's nose all the time, and there's more defensive linemen on the weak side of the running formation opposite the tight end.
Maybe we can show that for
I hope we
next time
can.
The Cardinals have the football.
Maybe easier to explain if we have a graphic there.
3rd and 3. St. Louis from its 41. Shotgun. Hart, good protection until he can't hold it. Oh, he was there.
He was. It was a little delay inside and boomerang back outside. Made really popular in the football by Bill Walsh. San Francisco 49er coach started all this stuff.
Got the word from the locker room that Eddie McGill, the Cardinal reserve tight end, has a fractured clavicle and obviously will not be returning. So that's a shame.
That is a shame. He was so excited in the locker room yesterday about how things were going for him. And real pleasant young man to visit with.
Birdsong, who has thrown 1, faked 1. Back to punt for the 3rd time. Rod Hill for the Cowboys, standing on his 10. Nice high floater, a little bit on the short side, and Hill slides in to make the fair catch at the 28-yard line.
Lousy punt, really. It was only a 3.9 hang time, but it was short, therefore they were able to cover it.
What do you like for hang time?
Well, as a coach, you'd love to average around that 4 or 5. Not many punters do, but you'd like to average around 4 or 5 because you feel your people can sprint that 40 and get down underneath that thing.
Coming up at halftime, scores and highlights. Brent Nerr will have those for you, plus a report from the U.S. Open Tennis Championships at Flushing Meadow. That'll be on later today. At the final between Ivan Lendl and Jimmy Connors. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys at their 27-yard line. They trail 10-7. Just over 3 minutes left in the half, and Dorsett came very close to breaking that. He got 9 on it. Benny Perrin finally made the stop. Perrin, number 23 there. Young defensive back, just in his 2nd year, a 3rd-round draft pick from Alabama. And started as a rookie, beat out the veteran Ken Green, and they let him call the defensive signals. That's a little unusual for a first-year guy.
Yeah, he's very, very bright. And he is great under pressure. He doesn't panic when the formations change or anything. He goes ahead and makes the audibles.
Bring you up to date on other scores around the National Football League as we get this measurement on the play. And of course, we'll have all the scores for you coming up at halftime. Just a tad short, maybe a foot or so.
This is a good waist down.
Redskins 7, Euro Ball Club 3. And Tampa Bay leading the Bears 3-0.
Tight football games today, all running through the league.
Cowboys, after they played on Monday night, are only 6-7 on the road. But this is only the 4th time the Cowboys have played a road game on Monday, followed by another road game. And they are 1-2 in that area. And interesting that both of the losses came after Monday night games in Washington. One in 1973 and the other one in 1980. And he looks a little perturbed. He was motioning Drew Pearson off the field. Second and short yardage situation. They didn't get it either. Looked a little disorganized on that particular play.
They were a little bit. It looked confused. I doubt they really were, but they looked confused. Dallas is very seldom confused.
Cedric Mack, the left corner, made the stop, number 47.
You can't see any signs of confusion there, though we did see early prior to the snap people pointing at each other and looking around.
Once again, they say it's close enough for measurement.
I was surprised they actually went to a short yardage formation on 2nd and short. It's a good waist down. Obviously thinking about ball control.
He needed a foot, and he now needs maybe 2 inches. So it'll be 3rd down and inches for the Cowboys.
Tom is great for running a very quick count quarterback sneak in this situation. The linemen sometimes are even up in a 2-point stance. The linemen aren't even ready to go, and boom, they snap them off, they go. They may not do it, but they've done it a lot in the past.
Bears leading Tampa Bay 7-3 as Chicago is on the scoreboard in that game. In the second period of play, Jim McMahon on a 73-yard touchdown pass to Walter Payton. 3rd and inches. Cowboys trail the Cardinals 10-7 as we run down to the 2-minute warning. Well, there's still not much there.
Well, they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. See why we never beat them very often?
Ron Springs, the ball carrier that time, and that will necessitate our 3rd straight measurement.
You're in St. Louis. It's going to be a 1st down. You're going to get this call.
Why would the visiting team get the call in St. Louis?
Yeah. Well, that's right. I'm really fouled up.
They did get it.
They got it.
Well, the comeback the other night the Cowboys made against the Redskins, coming from 20 points down in the second half. Biggest comeback point-wise they've ever made. They've never been behind by as much as 20 before and come back. Never count them out. 2-minute warning, and we'll be back in St. Louis in just a moment. 1st and 10, Cowboys ball at their 38-yard line. Cardinals leading 10-7. We're at the 2-minute warning as the Cowboys bring it up to the line of scrimmage. Landry uses guards.
Here's a good shot of that under defense. You note that the nose man right there on the center, he's dropped the throw now.
Springs.
Get out of bounds. Yep.
He did. Started to say Landry uses guards as messengers. Herb Scott and Howard Richards will bring the plays in from the bench. The Cardinals, on the other hand, will wigwag them. There's the messenger system in operation right now. Herb Scott, been to the Pro Bowl several times for the Dallas Cowboys. 13th round pick from Virginia Union.
Great open field blocker. He really is good out in the open field. Very seldom misses a man when he gets zeroed in on him.
Cowboys have a 2nd down. They need 7 for the 1st down. The ball is at their 41. Dallas now in its 2-minute offense. Danny White has hit 6 out of 8 for 65 yards, but he's been trapped 3 times. Good protection this time, and Pearson makes the catch in heavy traffic at the Cardinal 45. Did he take a hit?
He took a hit, but he got up in the air and caught the ball at its highest point. Good receivers always do that.
Pearson, one wide receiver who wants the ball anywhere he can get it. Throw it to me over the middle, throw it to me long, just throw it to me. Cowboy shotgun, 1st and 10 from the Cardinal 45. Tony Hill that time.
Missed the audible. Tony Hill missed the audible. He was supposed to go out. You can see Danny's upset about it. He had single coverage out there by number 44, Wayne Smith.
That'll set up a 2nd and 10 for the Cowboys at the St. Louis 45-yard line. You know, this I think has now become, as you look at the replay here, go ahead and comment on Hill going the wrong direction here.
Evidently it was an audible on the line of scrimmage and he didn't hear it. And that happens a lot in that 2-minute speed drill. He gives him a little move and comes to the inside. He was supposed to go to the outside. Sorry, Danny.
2nd down, 10 for the Cowboys at the Cardinal 45-yard line. Pearson to the left. Hill to the right. Johnson in the slot. Hill to throw it. Again in heavy traffic to Drew Pearson at the 39, short of the first down. And Pearson is paying the price for those catches.
Boy, he get really tapped. But he is tough. He really is a tough guy.
Lionel Washington, number 48, one of those 5 defensive backs the Cardinals drafted, made the hit that time.
He's just a rookie, but that doesn't mean you don't know how to hit somebody. You can see this is a little delay move. He's letting the offense is being pushing people out. He's delaying underneath people there. He's propped up. Foul. Lionel Washington, a rookie from Tulane, number 4 draft choice, and they're really excited about this guy. He's a real good athlete. Let's hope Drew is not hurt seriously.
He really gave him a shot in the head as he started to go down.
He might have bit his lip or tongue. Sometimes that happens when you come up underneath a man like that.
Pearson, for his lack of size, has been amazingly durable down through the years for the Cowboys. The only time he ever missed a game, as I recall, was several years ago when he did one of those fancy spikes in the end zone, and I think it was a game against the Eagles that he missed.
I know he's only missed 1 game in 10 years, so he'll be back in there. He's
coming up next Sunday on CBS. Doubleheader action for the first time this season on CBS Sports, and we'll lead it off to many of you. See the Rams play the Packers. We'll look at Eric Dickerson, the great rookie for the Rams, who scored 47 touchdowns in his college career at SMU against the Packers, and we saw what their offense could do last week. Other regional games in the first half of the Twin Bill include the Cardinals meeting with San Francisco, Chicago, New Orleans, Atlanta, Detroit, and then most of you will see the Cowboys play the Giants in the second half of the Twin Bill from Texas Stadium. The other late regional games, depending on what part of the country you happen to be, Philadelphia against Denver as John Elway has a homecoming, and Minnesota versus Tampa Bay. Of course, Elway and his group are in Baltimore today, which should be something to see.
Can you imagine the ovation that he'll get in Baltimore?
I'm sure. You hear the boos all the way to Denver. Well, Pearson looking none the worse for the experience. Apparently we'll get the rest of the first half off. As we go back to play, the Cowboys have a 3rd down. They need 2 for the first down at the Cardinal 37. And they'll operate it out of the shotgun. 1:09 left in the half. White goes to Cosby for the first down at the 29. Doug Cosby, the 6'6" tight end, making his first reception of the day. Cedric Mack on the tackle, number 47.
Another one of those plays where the offense pushes the defense, pushes them deep, and the defender, or rather the receiver, delays and comes underneath.
Cowboys have 2 timeouts left. Clock moving with 45 seconds left in the half. Sideline throw, and it's almost picked off. Butch Johnson, the intended receiver, and the rookie, Lionel Washington, number 48, who is a burner.
He has some confidence, doesn't he? Look, and he's going to back up, but he has such confidence in his speed. He isn't going to run and hide. There, the receiver breaks out. Now he's coming underneath, making the correct move. Almost picked it off.
That stops the clock with 39 seconds left in the half. Washington, one of 5 defensive backs in there. He's the nickel back right now for the Cardinals. There's a timeout situation. Cowboys have 2 left. They trail 10-7. Have a 2nd and 10 at the 29 of the Cardinals. And Pearson is back in there. I thought maybe he'd get the rest of the half off, but no, sir. Johnson in the slot from the shotgun. Good protection for White. Wide open is Drew Pearson at the 10, and he is drilled for the 3rd time in this drive, and he gets up again.
Calling timeout. Good move to call timeout right here, because it's going to take some time to get reorganized with that long offensive play. Very good play, again, bringing the receiver underneath.
They do call time with 31 seconds
Drew,
left
number
now.
88 coming underneath now. See, Lionel Watson chucked him, turned him loose. There he got up underneath, found the zone, put it away nicely. I tell you this, he didn't stand up straight that time. He got pulled that chin down, didn't he?
Because Washington took a pretty good shot in the back there. That's Drew Pearson's first half work so far. 5 catches for 65 yards. And at this point, he may be saying, well, maybe I don't want to catch it for a play or two. Give me a chance to catch my breath. Coming up at halftime, Brent Nerve back in New York, scores and highlights, and a lot of big plays in the NFL already today. Len Dickey with 2 long touchdown passes to Lofton. Walter Payton catching a long one. And we'll have a report on the U.S. Open tennis, and you'll see the final later today. That's the men's finals. Ivan Lendl and Jimmy Connors will battle it out at Flushing Meadow. Try to join Martina Navratilova in the winner's circle. Giants lead Atlanta. That's a second period score. Scott Bruner has thrown an 8-yard touchdown pass to Ernest Gray in that one. So the Giants, after being upset by the Rams last week, trying to bounce back. And our score, Cardinals 10, Cowboys 7, and the Cowboys threatening here not only to possibly tie it, but maybe take the lead.
It'd be a great morale boost for Dallas if they could get one in here right now, and it'd be a little bit of a demoralizer for St. Louis. You know, you've had that emotional peak, you're excited, you're intense, and all of a sudden, you're behind.
First and goal to go from the 10-yard line. 1 timeout left for the Cowboys. Pearson, touchdown. Great move to the outside, then the little dip to the inside against Washington, the rookie. And Drew Pearson has his 6th reception. What a drive that was for him.
Look at him. We're signaling #1. You know, and they're #1 in confidence, #1 in the really believing they can win. Now he's on the rookie there, number 48, Lionel. He gives him a stick right there, just enough to freeze him. He doesn't need that much room.
10-yard touchdown pass.
That is probably the #1 pass thrown inside the 10-yard line through an NFL football season right there, the quick slant.
Pearson caught 4 passes in that drive. Septien with the extra point attempt as the Cowboys have the lead for the first time. He's got it.
Nice kick.
27 seconds left to play in the first half, and the Cowboys lead the Cardinals 14-10, and you can almost feel things beginning to turn around here.
You know, you could feel it on that drive that they took it all the way down the field and fumbled it. You could feel that they're getting after St. Louis's defense, and St. Louis has got to be careful that they don't extend all their emotion and their enthusiasm here in the first half and have nothing left for that second half, because they were really fired up in that first quarter.
So the Cardinals trying to regroup. They'll be receiving the kickoff here with just 27 seconds left to go in the first half.
Jim Hannafin. Right now he's doing more than perspiring because of the heat.
Hannafin started 5-11 his first year in St. Louis, then took him to 7-9, and last year they were 5-4, and of course went into the playoffs. He was their offensive line coach when they had that great group that allowed just 8 sacks in a single season back in 1975.
27 seconds to go here. They'll probably kick it. St. Louis will probably just ride the clock out. Now the fans may not like it, but they won't take a chance, and since they've lost momentum to do anything negative down in their own area of the field, unless they get the big kicker off return. That'll change their
thinking. This guy can do it.
Yeah, oh, you bet he can. The stump.
Septien bouncing it on the ground. You don't want to take a chance of any long kickoff return. Kurt Allerman, a linebacker, wound up fielding the ball and was belted out of bounds in front of the Cardinal bench at the 32-33 yard line. Landry didn't want to give Mitchell a chance to run it back. The way his kickoff teams have been playing today, I can see where Tom might be a little concerned.
Stump's older brother nicknamed him Stump a long time ago because his real name is Livona.
Well, I might like to be called Stump too.
Yeah.
Of course, Stump is obvious because he's only 5'9". Played at the Citadel. And the year he came out, Stump was the #2 rusher in the country. It was the year that George Rogers was a senior.
Yeah, he was a great player. They're down to the speed thing. They're not going to try to sit on it. But that's what you got to watch.
Picked off by Everson Walls, his first of the year. He's at the 40, down to the 30, down to the 25-yard line. Well, you call that in terms of why you should sit on it at that point.
Well, I'm not second-guessing their decision at all.
Well, you can second up here. You can second guess. Yeah. That's part of the deal, Dick.
Yeah, but against Dallas, you're losing some momentum. You've got to be careful because they're laying back there playing the zones. You can see he's going to jump underneath. He's chucked on the line of scrimmage. Now Tilley's rolling out to the corner pattern. Now you can't see that right there. The underneath man, number 24, Emerson Walls. He's got that uncanny sense and ability to go ahead and make plays like this. That's why he's been the great interceptor in just 2 years that he is.
You know, no player has ever led the National Football League in interceptions 3 years in a row, which is what he's bidding to do. And the only other guy to lead it for 2 years was Bill Bradley, Old Eagle.
You know, we take guys like him and we emphasize what they do on the field, but you know, he's really a contributor off the field in the community and around Dallas. It must be a super young guy.
21 on the return, and the Cowboys will have a first down at the St. Louis 27 with 13 seconds to go. Now, what do you do here, Dick? One play and then the field goal try?
Yeah, I'd say one play.
Sideline type?
One play, yeah. And how many timeouts? I can't. Dallas has
one left.
Yeah. Probably one play.
So they wouldn't really need to run it to the sideline since they do have the timeout.
With a 14-10 lead, the 3-point field goal would make it like a touchdown, 17-10. They may try for like the delay underneath there, get the ball 10, 15 yards closer, and give them a higher percentage field goal kick.
Notice Walls hanging on to that football. As we said, it was his first interception of the year. Preseason, regular season, they just haven't been thrown at him that much. He's gotten the reputation now. And they're going more to the other side.
He's the only player in the history of the National Football League to lead the league in interceptions his first 2 years in the league. He has that sixth sense and not real good speed.
We said Bradley led it for 2 years, but not his first 2 years.
Not his first 2 years.
As he was a veteran later on in his career. Head coach Tom Landry.
I think he's starting to enjoy his birthday a little bit more.
I think so, too.
What a fine man.
They're not going to run a play, Dick.
They're going to go ahead and kick. Well, that surprises me.
This will be a 45-yard attempt by Septien. As we said, he has not missed all year. He's 6 out of 6, counting preseason, and last Monday night where he was 1 out of 1.
46% kicker from this area.
This one just does get through. Didn't have that much carry, but enough.
I want to talk to his coach, Ben Agajanian, about that kick. See, he's a 46% field goal kicker from that area of the field in his career. So the odds were pretty close.
There's a gift for from the St. Louis Cardinals to Tom Landry, I guess, for his birthday. They come up with the interception, and Septien gets an easy 3, and the Cowboys have scored 10 points here in a matter of 30 seconds.
And sometimes when you do that, you do more than score points. You drain a football team mentally. They walk off the field, they're thinking, my gosh, we just blew a lead. We were playing well. We were leading the football game. We're walking in, and now we're not excited any longer. We're mad at ourselves. Coaches are going to chew on us. And
Hannafin has been known to get a little excited in the locker room.
I'll tell you, he comes to the point quickly. I think he's a fine football coach and a good leader of men, and he's stern, and he's what people need. He's a disciplinarian, and he'll get after them when they're wrong. I got a kick out of the comment he made about when he came back here. Some of the players that were good players when he left weren't nearly as good when he came back, and they kept wanting to blame the ownership for losing. No way.
And he let them know it.
Yes, he did.
Here's Septien again kicking it on the ground, trying to keep it away from the deep man, but Roy Green. No, it's yes, it is Green. Picks it up at the 50 and runs it out at the 23-yard line to stop the clock with 5 seconds left in the half.
But as you look at the sidelines and watching people move around and walk, and you just look at them, you almost sense the helmets aren't up as high as they were in that first quarter. They've got to get them up coming out in this third quarter.
Temperature in the low 80s, but a lot better than it was. It was well into the 90s here yesterday before the passage of a front. But with the sun out, that artificial turf, it is still very warm. It was officially 98 yesterday in St. Louis. As you've been reading, the Midwest, this part of the Midwest, has had a miserable summer with the heat. Big hole for Wayne Morris, but the Cowboys giving him all the ground he wants for 10 or 15 yards because they know that the clock is running down to 0. There's the gun indicating the end of the first half. Here at Bush Memorial Stadium, the Cowboys lead the Cardinals 17-10. Time statistics, Cowboys have doubled the Cardinals rushing total. St. Louis with a slight edge in the passing department. Of course, the total offense edge goes to the Dallas Cowboys. But look at the turnovers. Cardinals have turned it over 3 times. Cowboys just once. That was, of course, deep in St. Louis territory at the 1-yard line when Dorsett fumbled. Cardinals held them there, but they had 99 to go, and the Cowboys wound up scoring a touchdown anyway when the Cardinals punted to midfield. Then the Cowboys just drove down for the score. Otis Anderson. Those are not typical Otis Anderson figures against the Dallas Cowboys, a team that he has averaged 96 yards rushing per game, a team that he gained 193 yards on his first game out of the box his rookie year. But thus far, the Cowboys have shut him down and done a great job. First down statistics, Cowboys were blanked in the first quarter, but came up with 12 first downs in the second period. And lead in that department 12-7.
You know, Otis has been receiving some criticism through the media here in St. Louis and from the fans, saying that he's not running like he did when he was a younger back. He's running more passively. He's looking for the sidelines. He's looking for the big run all the time and not running as physical. I don't really think there's justification for that criticism.
If you're a running back, I would think self-preservation would cross your mind a time or two.
Yeah, they have to, but some people just can't do it. But Dorsett is great at protecting himself in a crowd. It's not because he doesn't have courage. He's an intelligent runner, and he realizes, hey, there's nothing left. I'm going to get down so I can run the next time.
O'Donohue will kick it off. I would think this possession is very important to the Cardinals. If the Cowboys go down and do it again, St. Louis could be in big trouble.
They could be.
Fellows deep, coupled with Rod Hill. And this one will come to Hill, #1 draft pick a year ago. 10, 15, 20. Out to the 25 and stopped at that point. 1st and 10, Dallas.
He was really coming out of there. He was flying, running with determination and enthusiasm. Now, maybe he's going to be an example of the tempo that Dallas is going to play with in the third quarter.
A lot of people thought Hill was a flop. He had some problems in the playoffs last year, but he has come along nicely for the Cowboys. Been outstanding at training camp.
Didn't Tom tell us he felt that he was maybe his #1 cover guy during training camp?
Yes, sir. Has a lot of confidence in him now. Uses him as a nickel back. Figures good on Danny White here in the first half. 11 out of 15 for 124. Dorsett on the 27 or 28-yard line for short yardage before being snagged up by Charlie Baker, #52, and Dave Aarons, #58. There's been speculation that when E.J. Jr. comes back to the Cardinal lineup here in a couple of weeks after sitting out the first 4 games, he may be the Cardinals' middle linebacker.
I wouldn't be surprised because they would like to improve the speed inside their defense. Dave Aarons is a character player and a good player, but that E.J. has that great quickness, and who are you going to take out? Those 2 young guys on the outside? Probably not.
2nd down, 7. Dallas ball at its 27-yard line. Cowboys leading the Cardinals 17-10. Again, Dorsett, ball is loose. This could be a big turnover in the ball game. Al Baker, Bubba, picked up by the Cardinals in the trade with Detroit, comes up with the turnover, and the Cardinals have the ball at the Dallas 15. So 2 fumbles, both of them costly here by Dorsett.
Dorsett is upset with himself. There's no question about it. Now it appears to be a good exchange. Now watch the quarterback hand it off to Tony right there on the counter play. He gets it tucked away, but there's contact right there. Right there. Number 75 comes up. Curtis Greer, who's their best pass rusher, comes up from the inside and taps it out. Now Big Al has it. They really like Big Al Baker here. They really like him.
Look at him. Big Al says, I should have taken it in.
I don't think we could really repeat what he really said there.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Wayne Morris and Otis Anderson, the setbacks behind Jim Hart. Sends Roy Green in motion, comes out throwing pressure. They came flying from all directions that time. Great rush by Harvey Martin, number 79, and then Dickerson, number 51, flying through there.
Big Harvey. He's out of the doghouse. It's a play action pass. Now you watch, there's a play action pass. There's more people rushing right now than they have blocking. Harvey Martin gets him from behind. Don't hurt that guy. You know what happens if Hart goes down? A very inexperienced quarterback comes in the ballgame.
Rusty Lish,
Rusty
the
Lish.
#3 quarterback, who's played very little. So Harvey comes up with the sack. It is 2nd down, 22 for the Cardinals, who are back at their 21. Loss of 6 on the play. Tilley in motion. Hart over the middle. Roy Green back to the 10. Picked up the yardage they lost in the previous play and 5 more. And they're looking at 3rd down and 5.
Again, I think we're going to see Roy Green start up and then come underneath an offensive receiver, stretching that defense. There he came up. There he is. I wish we could have seen the delay move that he used coming underneath Tilley as he cleared it out.
I think your point was very well taken during halftime, that if the Cowboys lose this ball game, they're going to have a big hand in beating themselves and helping the Cardinals by things like the Dorsett fumble. Pickup of 12 on that play. Hart looking for 6. Picked off from the end zone by Dennis Thurman. So Jim Hart is intercepted for the 3rd time. Hart takes off his helmet, slams it down to the ground. No one feels worse about it. The Cowboys secondary, those 3 free agents and Thurman, who was an 11th round draft choice, thwart the Cardinals in that scoring opportunity.
Dennis Thurman's a character. You know, I recruited him to UCLA and lost him to USC. Shows you how good a recruiter I was. Back here, throwing it in Dennis Thurman's area, laying it up like that is dangerous. He has 20 career pass interceptions. You'll see the ball coming. Dennis will flash into the screen right there. Jumping, catching the ball again at its highest point. He was throwing the ball to the corner receiver that we could not see on the screen. Don't lay it up there in front of Dennis Thurman. It's the wrong thing to do.
Frank Glieber along with Dick Vermeil, Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. Cowboys have a 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line after their 3rd interception of the afternoon. Dallas leading 17-10. Dorsett after the 25.
He's locking up football right now. He's locking it up tight.
He really hung on that time.
Yes, he did.
Look closely at Danny White, and you will see he has a C on the upper portion of his jersey, left shoulder. If you'll turn this way, Danny. There you go. All of the Cowboy captains this year have that, and it was a Tex Schramm innovation that Tex got, he said, actually from watching the National Hockey League. All the hockey teams, you know, identify their captains with a C, and it may catch on. Other scores, Philadelphia over Washington now, 10-7. Pittsburgh leading Green Bay 16-14. That's in the 3rd period. Swing pass out to Tony Dorsett. 30, 35. Dorsett stopped just short of the 40. Lee Nelson making the tackle on Dorsett, who is getting up slowly. And he's hurting. He will limp off the field.
The key to this kind of play is the play action to freeze the linebacker in. Now you'll see Scott, 68. See, get the block right there. That's the key to making that thing go. It's a little quick screen outside in the perimeter of the defense, and you give it to a running back like Dorsett. Boy, that's a lot easier than running inside the line of scrimmage area.
Timmy Newsome is in. Looked like Dorsett got hit on the left knee.
Well, you know, he has a tender area there right now.
That's right. Bruised it last week against the Redskins. 1st and 10 Cowboys from their 36. Blitzes on White. He read it, tried to deliver the football to Doug Cosby, and Cosby was sandwiched rather nicely. Lee Nelson was back there defending.
Great job by Lee Nelson. Cosby, the big 6'7" guy, isolated on a little guy at 5'10", but Lee Nelson used to be a corner. See him drive on that right there? He's lucky that ball wasn't intercepted. At least Dallas is lucky. Lee Nelson was a corner for 5 years in this league. He's
Dorsett will receive treatment. He's picked up 30 yards rushing and 11 carries.
He's saying, boy, what a tough way to make a living.
But they pay well.
But they do pay well.
2nd and 10. White out to Ron Springs, and reading it perfectly was the rookie Bob Harris. The left side linebacker trips up Springs for the loss back at the 26-yard line. Pretty good recognition.
Very good. And the interesting thing on this play was the quarterback dropped. Danny White, number 11, dropped back, and he faked to his left, then wheeled around and threw a screen pass to his right, trying to get the linebackers to go with him. And Bob Harris, number 50, didn't take the fake. Now watch. See him run back here. Now watch him fake the pass to his left, wheel around, throw it to his right. But he didn't fool number 50, the rookie Bob Harris. That shows you sometimes as coaches we overemphasize how a rookie can hurt you. They can help you too.
3rd down, 17 for the Cowboys. Shoved back to their 29. White out of the shotgun. Tony Hill at the 50-yard line. Good for the 1st down. Well, you got him pinned back there. You think you got him right where you want him. And all of a sudden they come up with a big play. How many times has it happened before? Lionel Washington, number 48, and Benny Parent, number 23, on the stop.
Tony Hill's up there being covered short, then released, go deep by another defender. Now you'll see Cosby, 84, hook up, control the front coverage. Then he falls right in there behind number Lionel Washington, number 48, in that zone area. That's a tough ball to throw. I mean, you give the credit to Danny White on that one. A great quarterback throws that pass.
22 yards on the pickup and a Dallas first down at the 49-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Hill's second reception of the afternoon. Hill to the left side, Drew Pearson to the right. Springs hops over the middle down to the 45 to the 43. We started talking about the Cowboy captain, Danny White. And of course, he and Pearson are the co-captains on offense, but obviously they play a big role in this team.
No question. You know, leadership in pro football is every bit as important as it is in high school and college football. And sometimes it's tougher to find the captain. Who leads the leaders? They were all great leaders in high school, college. Now they're all on the same football team in pro football. Who stands up and becomes a leader? Sometimes it's a problem. You can't find a guy to do it.
Second down, 4 from the 44. Newsom replacing Dorsett, took a terrific hit from Bob Harris, number 50, at the line of scrimmage. Managed to shake it and pick up a couple of yards, but he is still short of the first down. Another score from around the National Football League. Buffalo leading Cincinnati by a score of 10-3. That game is now in the third period.
Be nice to see Case Davidson win his first game as the head coach at Buffalo. That's a tough situation when you follow the guy that led him out of the woods, like Chuck Knox turning that program around. Now a young coach gets his opportunity to be a head coach, and boy, it's tough to do better than Chuck Knox.
He did a fine job there now in Seattle. Third down, 3 for the Cowboys at the 42 of St. Louis. White looking for the first. He's got it. Hill at the 30-yard line down to the 28. What are they doing to this? Are they picking on the young secondary? Is that it, Dick?
Well, what's happening right now in that 3rd and 3 to 4 situation, they can't afford to play zone, so they're playing man-to-man. See number 47, Cedric Mack, playing a man-to-man all the way. No underneath help right now because they're all tied up man-to-man. They're playing man-to-man to stop him from throwing the 3 to 4 yard pass to the running back coming out of the shotgun.
You just can't cover everybody.
You can't cover everything. They may be picking on this young guy right now. Cedric Mack, he's a rookie. You know, he's a number 2 draft choice, and they're excited about him. But if you were all pro, it's tough to stop that one.
1st and 10, Dallas at the St. Louis 28. One back offense for the Cowboys. Cosby in motion. Ron Springs on the carry. And Springs gets it down to the 24-yard line. You know, different teams have different names for their one-back offense. The Cowboys call theirs the Jayhawk. Where they got that last year, one of their tight ends was Jay Saldi. He was the extra tight end, and Hawk is Dorsett's nickname. So they call it Jayhawk. Other people, I don't know, what did you call it, the ace?
We call it H-back. H-back. Some call him the rover back. If he plays poorly, you call him worse than that.
2nd down, 6.
That's a typical Washington-Philadelphia game, huh?
Isn't it?
10-10. It's tough.
Ball is at the 25-yard line of the Cardinals.
Watch out.
Pearson, his 7th reception of the afternoon, bumped out of bounds by the rookie Cedric Mack.
You know, Cedric Mack is not playing afraid out there. I like this guy. He has confidence. He's staying with him. He's attacking that short stuff. He's not going to back up and just give it to him. He's going to make him contest it. You watch Cedric here. He's not backing out of there just scared to death. He's pedaling slowly, reading the receiver. He drives underneath, trying to make the move to the ball. Can't get there. That's really tough to defend.
Just short of the first down, 3rd and less than a yard. Mack had 3 interceptions in preseason for the Cardinals. Returned one 68 yards against the Vikings. And had a 30.
Good football player, Ron Springs. Very underrated coming in when he was drafted. You just imagine that he was picked in the 5th round. Here he is, a starting football player and playing real well.
19 yards on the dash off tackle for the Cowboy running back. What made this go? They ran too tight?
First off, it was good blocking. Everybody's up, committed to the run. Good blocking. He hands it off to him deep enough so he can read it. He gets a nice block in there. I can't see who it was. Then he just breaks it. Nobody back there because they're all up, committed to the short yardage running play. That's similar to the long run that Riggins made in the Super Bowl. Remember that short yardage run? He broke the line of scrimmage. He's clean. Off he goes. Nobody back there.
Toronto to hold. Septien tacks on the extra point. And the Cowboys have the first score of the second half with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in the third period. It's Dallas 24, St. Louis 10.
Los Angeles.
Rafael Septien getting ready to kick off. Tony Dorsett being tended to on the far sideline. Even Tom Landry is over there looking in. See what's happened to his star running back.
What a distraction that is when you have a player injured as a head football coach, because you're responsible for all those guys. Again, a returnable kick.
Stump Mitchell from the 5. They pull a reverse this time. Farrell taking the handoff to the 20, 25, and out to the 30-yard line.
Very well executed special teams play by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, now we're told they're looking at Danny White over at the Cowboys sideline. That's what Landry was overlooking at. White is maybe he took a shot on that touchdown pass. He's up and around now, and Landry's going over to talk to him to make sure the cobwebs are clear, if that's the case.
You really don't see many of these plays in pro football or in college football. He starts up, he's coming straight at to draw the coverage in. Now he hands it off to fit. Here he comes, Earl Farrell coming back the other way. Very well executed play. Now watch the key block, right? Bang, he gets a nice one right there. Chuck Banker's doing a fine job of coaching these special teams.
Hart has to go upstairs now. Hits Tilley for the first down at the 42-yard line.
I think we're going to see more of this kind of approach here in the third quarter, because St. Louis has got to believe they're only 2 plays out of this, and one big play, they're only 1 down, and be back in it in the fourth quarter.
12-yard pickup on the play. Tilley played his college football at Louisiana Tech, so he grew up as a Dallas Cowboy fan because they got all the Cowboy games on television in Louisiana when he was a youngster.
He has one year that he caught over 1,000 yards in his career, too. He's a fine player. He's given me fits as a head coach in Philadelphia.
1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Cardinals from the eye. Anderson. O.J. breaks it outside. Trying to reach the 50-yard line. Stopped just short of that point, but that's Anderson's best run of the day.
That's the first. He's made more yards in that run than he made in the first half, or close to it. There's 6 or 7 yards, but he's a great football player.
Anderson needs 20 yards rushing in this game to reach 5,000 for a career. He now has 13 yards in 8 carries so far.
And he's only been around. Watch this now. Wayne Morris, number 24, going to get a block. Oh, he misses him, hooks him with his elbow. Back up inside. Luis is going to brush man off for him. A lot of this is done on his own. Tootie Robbins, number 63, was coming over to help out, but he couldn't get there in time.
2nd down 4 from the 49-yard line of the Cardinals. Marsh, the tight end, is in motion. Again, Anderson spinning his way through for the first down, this time at the 46-yard line of Dallas, where Bob Brunig, number 53, makes the stop for the Cowboys.
Just a quick. Danny White might be banged up over there.
Well, I don't know if he had his bell rung, but the doctors were looking at him on the bench a moment ago. Landry came over, took a good look to see what was happening. Landry started talking to him, but he's up and around.
Does he wear contact lenses? Sometimes those things get fouled up during a ball game, and you got a whole crew over there trying to find it or locate it and see if it's in the eye or what.
I'm not sure if he does. 1st and 10. Cardinals at the Dallas 46. St. Louis needing a drive badly here to get back in this game. Hart under pressure gets rid of the ball to Anderson. Michael Downs doing a good job covering, coming up from the safety position and tackling Anderson at about the 43-yard line after a pickup of 3 yards. Now, Landry will tell you he's some player. Underrated.
Yeah, he's a good player. Good player. You know, he's 6'3", 203 pounds, so he can afford to come up and put a shoulder pad into that big running back. Otis is 220 pounds, so you got to hit him.
Detroit leading Cleveland 17-14.
Detroit's playing well. We get to see him next week.
Yeah, Detroit against Atlanta next week, where we're headed.
St. Louis doing a real nice job now of play selection, mixing it up, got the ball moving.
2nd and 7 from the Dallas 43. Anderson, maybe a yard, no more than that. Anthony Dickerson doing a good job coming out from the right side linebacker position to make the stop. Dickerson played his college football at SMU and went to Canada. Cowboys picked him up as a free agent.
Yeah, he's a character. Tell me, would you buy a flower from this guy? He's a licensed florist. That's a different occupation for a football player, isn't it?
That is unusual. A lot of character. 3rd down 6 for the St. Louis Cardinals at the Dallas 42. Shotgun. Hart Delivers quickly to Tilley. Got enough for the first down, I believe, at the 34. Dennis Thurman coming up to make the hit. But reliable Pat Tilley comes through again. Great hands, great quickness.
He's going to have him one-on-one. He's coming up there. You can't really see what's happening right now. Now you're going to see him come into the screen. The defender, number 32, Dennis Thurman, coming inside out to make the tackle. Evidently, it was single coverage. Man-to-man, they just ran the out. First down.
Tilley may be a little wobbly, so he'll get a rest for a minute. That's his 5th catch of the afternoon. A little darker here. Seemingly, there was some rain in the forecast for later on this afternoon. First and 10 at the Dallas 36-yard line. Cowboys leading 24-10. Hart out to Marsh, the tight end. Bumped out of bounds by Hageman. We've heard so much about how they've worked the tight end back into the offense, but that's the first reception outside of the fake punt that a tight end has made.
Right, well, they had 2 tight ends in the offense that time. Greg LaFleur is playing in the tight end position. Hart's real desire is to go downfield. And Doug Marsh, number 80, is just a layoff man. Hart's looking downfield. He can't go downfield, so he just lays it off. It becomes a physical play now. Mike Hageman, number 58, came over and knocked him out of bounds.
2nd and 5 for the Cardinals at the Cowboy 31.
Strong safety blitz.
Hart gets it away quickly. Green trying to juke Dennis Thurman. Now it's Michael Downs. Downs picked up the football. We don't see a whistle. Downs is at the 30-yard line. Now we see a whistle. It'll be called back.
Yeah, they got it. They got it.
Anderson made the stop. 2 of the officials followed the play all the way downfield, but another one blew the whistle at the point of the fumble.
There's going to be some heated discussion on this play. I think Louis Sharp, number 67, did Hannafin, is he whizzed? Huh? He's a little upset, and he can get mad.
Long run for naught for the Cowboys. Wall still wants to stay down there on the 10-yard line. He'd rather play it from there. But the officials are calling him back, and we're going to have a conference.
I think Hannafin's right now thinking how smart those officials are to detect that someone had made a mistake.
Well, they're calling it a fumble, and they're saying the Cowboys recovered the fumble, but that Downs apparently was down at the point where he recovered the fumble. So the Cowboys will get the football, but the run back will be nullified.
Here comes a replay. Now maybe we can find out what actually happened.
The hitter was by Dennis Thurman.
Just a quick out. Throws it to Roy Green. He's going to shake him, juke him right there. Now get around. It's a fumble all the way. No question about it. I'll say he recovered the ball and he was down. But no one put a hand on him to... You can see him right there. There goes the ball. He didn't get it tucked away real good before contact. There he has it. He scoops it up. I think the ruling is there that the defender gets the football. He is in contact with the receiver. Therefore, the play is dead.
That's the way they called it. The Cowboys will get the football. The 4th turnover this afternoon for the Cardinals. 1st and 10 Dallas at their 25. Turnovers will kill you against anybody, and Jim Hannafin is finding that out.
A turnover difference through a full schedule played by everybody is usually worth about 3 points per turnover. Right there, we'd say that St. Louis has given him 9 points.
Springs over the left side out to the 29-yard line. Hagen Newsom, number 30 instead of 20.
He only had 1 carry for 3 yards last week, so this is really his first time to really get to play.
Newsom sparkled late last year. You'll recall he had a big touchdown run against the Redskins late in the season, had a big one against Houston. Fine backup for Tony Dorsett, who bruised his knee a bit earlier, and we don't know whether he'll be back. Cowboys leading 24-10. We're inside of 1 minute to play in the 3rd quarter. White in trouble behind the line. It's sacked for the 4th time this afternoon. Curtis Greer, number 75, the right end defensively. You know, Greer stayed on the right when they got Bubba Baker. Bubba played on the right in Detroit, but now he's on the left.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to bother him. He likes it. His attitude's good about it. Play action pass. There was a doggone see that the running back darn near misses number 50, Bob Harris. He tried to tackle him. Evidently, the offensive left tackle, Pat Donovan, got beat by Greer on a hard outside rush.
3rd down, 11. Most of your quarterback traps, do they not come from the right end defensively?
Well, more often than not, because that's your best pass rusher.
Danny White going long, trying to reach Butch Johnson, but overthrows him by 10 yards. Cardinals put a little stunt there.
Excuse me, Frank. Butch Johnson was in that whole series offensively in place of Drew Pearson. I wonder if there's something wrong with Drew, or they're just giving him a rest. Is that Drew there?
That will put the Cowboys in a punting posture, and that is the Cowboys' former punter, Danny White, who has relinquished those chores.
I bet he's relieved, because it also helps practice organization. You don't have to go out and spend the early part of practice punting and all that. You go out and you're a quarterback, you go on the field and you warm up and go through the drills with the rest of the quarterbacks.
This youngster's done a good job.
Not a great punt there.
Mitchell,
he isn't going to fair catch it, you know that.
At the 24, looking for some running room. Gets to the 26-yard line. And
Boy,
that's the end of the line. Time has run out here in the third period of play at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis. That is the end of the quarter with the score. The Cowboys 24 and the Cardinals 10. We now pause for a word from your local station. Vermeil, and welcome back to Bush Memorial Stadium. Remember the fumble a moment ago? We got a clarification on the ruling. You see the fumble here. Now Downs will get on the ball, but he is in contact with Green. And the rules say specifically that if you are in contact, no matter how minor that contact is, that's it.
That's right. The ball is dead. So our initial interpretation was correct. Art McNally was here to really clarify it for us.
1st and 10, Cardinals at their 26-yard line. Last drive, a fine drive, their best of the second half, but the fumble, of course, cost them. Anderson out to the 27. Here is the #1 man of the St. Louis Cardinals, starting quarterback Neil Lomax, injured last week against the Saints. But did Hannafin rave on him and the progress he's made yesterday?
Oh, they're really proud of the progress that he's made. He came in for the mini camp in the spring and then stayed in St. Louis the whole time and worked with Rod Dowhauer, the new quarterback coach, and has improved his fundamentals, his mechanics, his understanding, and they really think he's going to be a great quarterback. And I tend to agree. I really do. I think he's going to be a super. They're going to win with this guy.
That last carry by Anderson gives him 20 on the day, and that gives him 5,000 for his career. 5,000 even. 2nd and 9. Hart wants to go long. Over the middle. Schumann was the intended receiver. Dexter Clinkscale and Everson Walls back there covering.
It's amazing. The coverage by Everson Walls there covers like a man that thinks he can run a 4-2. You know, he has great confidence in his ability to cover. Most guys that run a 4.8 40 will lay off the receiver at least 5 yards at that depth. They don't want him to get that close.
As you look at it again, do you know anything about Walls?
I didn't as a coach. I'm sure my personnel department did. Wasn't that a beautiful play? That's how a defensive corner's got to make it. You notice he didn't push with his right hand or anything like that, so he didn't get the penalty called.
3rd down 9. Big rush on Hart this time. Steps forward into the pocket, and this one is picked off. That's Bill Bates, the rookie from Tennessee. Bates to the 10, down to the 5-yard line, and to the 3, the fumble into the end zone. Ball is still loose and recovered by the Cowboys. That's a touchdown. It is Dennis Thurman, number 32, who came up with the recovery in the end zone for the Dallas touchdown.
Boy, that is a disheartening play for St. Louis. And Hart, you can see by his expression on his face, he's disappointed. But it was a great play by Bill Bates, the rookie free agent from Tennessee. He won the special teams game ball last week. And Landry talks about this guy every time you visit with him. He must really be a hitter. You can see the snap. There's a hard outside rush, and he steps up in the hole. You can see to the left of the screen. See that little hole? He steps up in there. He's going to throw the ball, and Bates came inside out on him and made the play.
Louis Sharp caused the fumble here with the hit inside the 10.
Louis Sharp makes the play, goes in there. Come on, Randy.
Septien with the extra point. So St. Louis has turned it over now 6 times, and the Cowboys turn those into points and lead the Cardinals 31-10 early in the final period. rough afternoon for Jim Hart and the St. Louis Cardinals. Hart with his 4th interception. And again, the rust there from 2 years of relative inactivity. He threw only 33 passes all year last year.
That is tough. It really is.
And a good day so far for Danny White and the Dallas Cowboys. White is at 16 out of 22 for 169 yards. But the big difference in the game has been the turnovers. Cardinals have turned it over 6 times. The Cowboys twice. Stump Mitchell from the 5 up to the 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Mitchell at midfield, still on his feet, and finally caught by number 77, Jim Jeffcoat, the Cowboys' #1 draft pick.
He takes that ball, and you know that he's going to bring it out. He comes up, he finds the lane right there. He gets a couple blocks right there, finds the lane, no penalties, no flags down. Then he has the speed to break away. Now you'll see Jeffcoat, number 77, their #1 draft choice, come and make the play, a defensive lineman.
Looked like there might have been a clip back there that they missed. I don't know.
If they don't call it, it's not there.
It's not there, absolutely. 66 on the return. Coming up next week out on CBS Sports Saturday, Boom Boom Mancini's WBA lightweight title defense against unbeaten Orlando Romero, and Robin Blake squaring off against Melvin Paul. It's next Saturday beginning at 4 Eastern time right here on CBS. Hart trying to get something back. Overthrows Roy Green, the intended receiver, down at the 10-yard line.
I'll tell you, a quarterback like Jim Hart back there, he knows where he's throwing the football. Those balls that are thrown high many times are caused by the big, tall rushmen. They get their hands up, and you've got to throw the ball a little bit higher on your release just to get it over their hands.
Hart now 14 out of 24, and obviously having a rough afternoon after a very strong start in the first period when the Cardinals completely dominated the Cowboys. Didn't let them have a first down.
Right now, Dallas just came in with their nickel defense here in 2nd down.
2nd and 10 from the Cowboy 35. Cardinals need points and need them in a hurry. Hart out to Anderson. Oj to the 30, the 25, the 20, inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line.
Super job. He had one lineman out in front of him. Big Dan Deerdorf. You watch this offensive center. The quarterback's going to drop now. You watch 72. Just follow him to the right of your screen. You're going to see that big guy lumbering out. See him right there, number 72. He gets the block right there. Otis goes underneath him. Now that's good running, but their average running back's going to make that kind of a play successful if your offensive lineman execute like Dan Deerdorf did then.
Deerdorf is an amazing specimen. Long time Pro Bowl tackle. Switched him to center last year. And doing a great job. Age of 34.
Yeah, quite a guy, 290 pounds. I did a radio show with him the other night. It was a lot of fun.
1st and 10 Cardinals from the Dallas 13-yard line. Anderson, nice hole over the right side, dragging tacklers down to the 5-yard line. Pickup of 8 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 2. He's running hard now.
He is, but I think he wants out right now. He just tapped his hat. Look at him. He's a little tired or else a little bit banged up. They give him a deep toss, and he comes up right now. You'll see number 71 pull out there. That's Joe Bostic. He kicks out. He turns it up inside. Shoulders are bent. A couple hits.
Joe Bostic's dad was at the Cardinal practice yesterday. He's wearing a Cardinal hat. Of course, has a son that plays for the Redskins. I said, what do you do when the 2 teams play? He said, in Washington, I wear a Redskin hat.
He says, I root for the offenses. Both sons play offensive line.
2nd and 2 from the 6. Hart pumps it once, lets it go, and Walls had an interception and dropped it. Had it stripped out of his hands, actually, by Roy Green.
Great play by Roy Green. Heads up, super play. You know, I don't know if I'd throw at that guy. Now watch this. Walls is back. He comes inside now. He's in number 81 coming inside. Now watch Walls reach in there and strip it. See that? Pulls it out there. Pulls it out. Reach back there. He is an uncanny, instinctive football player.
We're talking about Dan Deerdorf. There he is at the age of 34, still banging away in there.
He and Jim Hart have a restaurant, Deerdorf and Hart Steakhouse. I bet you don't argue with them about the bill, do you?
Not at all. 3rd and 2. Cardinals need a touch. Stump Mitchell. There it is.
All right, they're back in the game.
So the Cardinal fans who have been somewhat subdued here in the 2nd half come back to life a bit.
Really well executed. Handed it to him deep. He broke outside because he has the quickness, turned up inside, headed for the goal line. Only had a few yards to go, and he'll take it there. You don't have to be big to score if you're quick.
Barron will hold O'Donoghue to try the extra point.
O'Donoghue.
11 minutes, 46 seconds left to play here in St. Louis. The Cowboys lead the Cardinals 31-17. It was set up by the big kickoff return from Stump Mitchell, and Stump appropriately goes the last 5 yards for the score. There's the stumper from Citadel. Fine little football player, give you everything he's got. Well, 2 big plays what the Cardinals need to get back in this game. Onside try here, and recovered by St. Louis. Recovered by the Cardinals at the 49. Lionel Washington. Looked like they caught the Cowboys sleeping.
Well, I don't know if they were sleeping, but they didn't anticipate it. And I don't know if I would have anticipated it myself. Again, emphasizing what a nice job the St. Louis Cardinals are doing in their special teams. Chuck Banker is doing a great job of coaching these guys. Very well executed play, and not a high percentage play. Lionel Washington, the rookie cornerback. Look at him. Is he excited?
He didn't even have to break stride on that.
They're only 2 plays out of this, and St. Louis are fighting back. They're a good football team and going to get better every week. With all those young guys playing and hanging in there this tough and coming back and not getting their dauber down, you've got to salute them.
You know, Hannafin, of course, remember a couple years ago, Bill Walsh drafted all those defensive backs and went to the Super Bowl. Maybe Hannafin had the same thing in mind here, drafting 5 defensive backs. 1st and 10. Cardinals have the football at their own 47-yard line. Hart puts it up over the middle, completes it to Doug Marsh at the 35, 30. The tight end is down to the 22. First down, St. Louis. Don't give up on those Cardinals yet.
Super job. He went down there. He had man-to-man coverage. It's the I formation. See, they normally run from the I formation or throw the screens. Here he went down there and he worked. He may have even pushed off on Michael Downs, number 26. He finally caught him. Ran a one-on-one type pattern. It was man-to-man coverage.
And Marsh has now caught as many passes in the first 2 games as he caught all of last year. He was the regular tight end. 26-yard pickup on that play, and a first down for the Cardinals at the Dallas 23. Hart, good protection. Now he's in trouble. Randy White finally nailed him at the 30-yard line.
There, that sack was caused by a offensive running back trying to cut Randy White down, and Randy jumped over the top of him. Now you watch. Quarterback is going to drop. He appears that he has time. Now the run, you're going to see Randy White appear. That's right there, number 54. He jumped over the top of a running back. What an athlete.
You will rarely see Jim Hart trapped. He's got that quick release.
Well, the coverage took away the pattern. He had to hold on to the football.
2nd and 20.
Tough situation. Tough call right now, too.
Cardinals back at the Dallas 32-yard line. From the one-back offense, again, Hart is smothered. Cowboy pass rush has suddenly come to life. Don Smerrick, number 60. Tom Landry told us yesterday he would be using Smerrick as well as Larry Bethea at the defensive line positions to spell Harvey Martin.
You can see him there. Now there's Smerrick, number 60. He's being blocked right there by Joe Bostic. He beat him to the outside. Joe got his hat down. He's got to keep his helmet up and keep those hands extended up underneath Smerrick to get him blocked. Smerrick, I didn't realize Smerrick is as big as he is. 6'7". What a giant.
You realize Dallas has 3 players, 6'9". I mean, they could field a pretty good NBA team. 3rd and 27. Cardinals have been shoved back now to the Dallas 39.
Try to get a field goal range now. Try to get in field goal range.
Incompleted pass intended for Willard Harrell coming out of the backfield. 9-year veteran from the University of Pacific, and Hart decked again.
I think they ran some kind of a stunt inside. Randy White was involved in the pressure of the quarterback, and Hart had to step up in there, didn't get the time he needed. What I think he was trying to do is get the ball up in a position he could get a field goal. He's back in the shotgun right now. Now watch number 68, the left of the screen. No, we lost him on the screen. We can't see it. Now Randy White comes around from behind. Terry Stevie and Randy White are having a pretty good battle there. You know, and Stevie's no kid. He's a real strong, big, physical football player. They're having a heck of a battle.
Too far away for field goal.
Going to try to punt it out of bounds, I'm sure.
Birdsong. High kick angling for the far side. And will be down at the 2-yard line. That's perfectly legal.
Yes.
As long as there's not a receiver in the vicinity. That was Leonard Smith, the #1 draft pick of the Cardinals, rookie from McNeese State. Back in St. Louis in just a moment. It is coming up shortly. The U.S. Open men's single final. Jimmy Connors against Ivan Lendl. You'll see it right here on CBS. Who do you like?
I don't know enough about it to be an authority.
Well, at least you're an honest man.
Connors, having been originally a UCLA man, I'd have to go with Connors.
That's what you base it on, huh?
Loyalty.
Jimmy going for #5 and Lendl going for his grand slam. Cowboys deep in their own territory after that fine punt by Birdsong. Will start it back at their 3-yard line. Defender fell down, but Butch Johnson couldn't reach
Illegal
the
chuck.
pass.
Illegal chuck.
Bumped him beyond the 5 yards.
I looked
Downfield
that
somewhere,
way.
huh?
They called it.
There's a flag thrown on the far sideline.
I think it's called on Cedric Mack over there.
Cowboys have got Doug Donnelly in at a wide receiver for the first time, and Robert Newhouse is in the running back. So penalty yardage will be walked off here. That's the first penalty of the game against the Cardinals. Cowboys only been penalized twice.
With the exception of the turnover problem, really it's been a well-played football game. You know, the special teams
Illegal
have executed well.
contact. Number 47, defense. First down.
Illegal contact.
I think we'll see here as the receiver runs the out. Now he's going to run the go, and he makes contact with him right there. So he gets his left shoulder or right shoulder underneath him right there, trying to force him out of bounds, and that's beyond the 5-yard chuck area, so he can't do that.
That's the rookie Cedric Mack, second-round draft choice from Baylor. 1st and 10, Cowboys from their 7. White will throw from the end zone to Newsom at the 10, 15, after the 19-yard line. Bring you up to date on some other scores around the NFL. Redskins on top of your old ball club, 17-10 in the 4th period. Giants lead Atlanta 13-6. That is also in the 4th. Tampa Bay and Chicago are tied in the 4th quarter play. Cleveland leading Detroit 21-17. Quite a few close ball games. And Pittsburgh over Green Bay in the 4th quarter, 23-21. Lynn Dickey has just hit Lofton for the 3rd time for a touchdown. Buffalo leading Cincinnati 10-6. I bet most of you will see Green Bay and Los Angeles next week in the first half of our CBS doubleheader. It's like the Cowboys would like to run that clock down some at this point.
Well, they're going to not do anything foolish. That's good, clean exchanges. They're concentrating on that, tucking the ball away. They can't afford to turn it over at this time. It's still a tight football game. St. Louis is 2 big plays out of the game. If they could get a turnover right now, they'd have a heck of a shot at it.
That's the time factor. Just over 8 minutes left to play. Tom Landry hoping that he'll have a birthday present in form of a victory to take back to Dallas tonight. Cowboys go against the Giants next week. And Jim Hannafin, be tough to be 0-2, but you got a young football team that's developing. We'll probably get Lomax back next week.
It's going to be a good football team.
2nd and 9. White with a nice fake. Gets it out to Cosby. Knocked out of bounds near the 25 by Lee Nelson.
They're using that play action to freeze that linebacker in the under defense that plays inside the defensive front and then cross the tight end underneath him. And it's tough to defense that with that kind of defensive front. And in fact, it's tough to defense with any kind of front when you're playing zone.
Floyd Peters, who coaches this defense, started out San Francisco, coached the 49ers front 4 out there, the Silver Rush, then went to was it the Silver Rush in Detroit, wasn't it?
In Detroit, it was the Silver Rush.
It was a Gold Rush.
Gold Rush
out in San Francisco. There he is, Floyd Peters, the assistant head coach, who looks in good enough shape to rush a few passers himself.
He was a fine player.
3rd and 5, inside handoff. Newsom trying to pick up the first.
Look at them swarm.
Fine defense by the Cardinals will stop him a yard or 2 shy of the first down. And that will make Peters happy.
Yeah, he's 10 years coaching experience now. Was a fine. He played in the Pro Bowl a few times too. Actually started playing pro football in the semi-pro leagues in California, in Salinas, California. The Salinas Packers. I remember them. What a character he is.
Pretty good player for the Eagles mainly, wasn't he?
Yes, he was a good player. A self-made, self-motivated type player. You know, a real achiever.
Warren into punt. 4th and 2. See what kind of rush that the Cardinals have here. 7 minutes to go in the game. Dallas up 14. Again, a nice high kick. Beautiful hang time. Mitchell disdaining the fair catch.
He's got a lot of courage, doesn't he?
He really does. I mean, they were all over him that time. Rod Hill, number 25, down there quickly to make the hit. Cardinals will have a first down at their 27 when we come back right after this. The usual great Sunday night lineup on CBS. All starts with 60 Minutes. And Alice, One Day at a Time. The Jeffersons. Good Night Beantown, which is the newest show really among that group, although it's been around for a season. And then Trapper John M.D. That'll be upcoming tonight, following tennis. Finals of the U.S. Open. Lendl and Connors right after this game. 1st and 10. Cardinals at their 27-yard line, desperately trying to get back into this football game and overcome 6 turnovers. Blitz on Hart. Untouched. Anthony Dickerson.
Boy, he was in there before they could even do anything. Nobody picked him up. I don't know what kind of play it was. Maybe a screen or something. The motion man going across. Now let's see if we can pick up Dickerson coming from the left of our screen. There he is, number 51. It was a screen. It was a screen. Somebody should have been assigned to pick him up. Probably a mental breakdown.
Loss of 7 on the play. Moves it back to the 20-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 18. Hart from the shotgun. Delivers to Roy Green at the 35. Hit immediately by Everson Walls. Still short of the first down, and he did not get out of bounds, so the clock keeps rolling and is now past the 6-minute mark. A couple of other scores around the NFL. Washington leading Philadelphia 20-10. Mosley had just kicked a 25-yard field goal. Just under 6 minutes left in that game. And Chicago leading Tampa Bay 17-10. Terry Schmidt with a 32-yard interception return. Eagles have a tough time with the Redskins, don't they?
Oh, you know, it's a rivalry just like it exists here.
That's the time left in this game. 5.5 minutes. 3rd down 3. Cardinals need the first here to keep the drive going. And again, Jim Hart is sacked, and this time on the safety by Bill Bates, number 40. The safety man breaking through on the blitz.
Bill Bates, number 40, is actually a linebacker in the nickel defense, and I think you'll see him rushing from a linebacker position. Now you can see number 47 up there, Clinkscale, faking. Now here comes Bates right up inside there. See that? I don't think he was assigned a dog. His man stayed in to block, and many times when you're playing man-to-man, when your man stays in to block in the backfield, you'll go ahead and rush. That's what he did.
Hart has been sacked 5 times now for 46 yards loss. Herzog to punt it away.
Hart had been sacked 271 times in his career, so he knows what it feels like.
Rod Hill back at the 20, 25. Tries to break it to the outside, and Harrell hits him at the 31-yard line. Good solid tackle by Earl Farrell.
Earl's one of their better special teams player. He was rated real high last year, and you can see the play he made right there was a good individual effort.
Reminder that this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals and the National Football League is prohibited. 1st and 10, Dallas Cowboys at their 31-yard line, leading 31-17. Robert Newhouse, old warhorse, out to the 40-yard line for the Cowboys, picked up close to 9 on that play. As we mentioned, one of the big new acquisitions for the Cardinals this year has been Big Bubba Baker from Detroit, and Jim Hannafin told us yesterday he thought he got a steal on this deal. Gave up a 3rd-round draft pick. This guy recorded 23.5 sacks for Detroit his rookie year.
I know it. He was a great pass rusher coming out of Colorado State, and Detroit picked him in the 2nd round in 1978. And I remember watching him on film. We felt that he was the best pass rusher coming out of college that we had seen in the 4 years that we'd been in Philadelphia.
It's a case of personality conflict, they said in Detroit, with Monty Clark. Second down and a yard. White, rainbow intended for Doug Donnelly. And Donnelly makes the catch and goes out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
He's the fastest receiver on the team.
Cedric Mack, number 47, picking on the rookie again from Baylor. They call him White Lightning.
Watch him come off the line of scrimmage. He's going to push right at him. Now see him go right at his inside and then go up the outside of him, make him turn tight. Now it's laying up over the outside shoulder. It should be thrown. See it right up over the outside shoulder. Well executed play.
It's like Mack knew he was in trouble and didn't want to get the pass interference call.
I feel sorry for that guy right now. He's getting a little bit shook, but I'll tell you, he's going to be a good football player. Going to be, and it won't take him another whole season. I think he'll be playing like a real veteran here in a matter of 3 or 4 games.
47-yard gain in the play and a Cowboy first down at the 13-yard line. Dallas trying to apply the coup de grace here. Leading by 2 touchdowns with 3:56 to go. White again for Donnelly. That's 6. Well, let's see. Now they're going to rule it incomplete. They ruled that he lost possession before he went out of the end zone. Now that's an interesting call. The rule says you got to have it, and it looked. Well, we had to look at it.
His back was to us. It was hard to tell, but from here it looked like he had the football. He's going to drop back now. He's going to throw it quick, high into the outside. See that? Lay it up high into the outside. The ball's wobbling. It looks like he catches it.
What do you
like
think?
A touchdown. It looks.
Now
Let's take another
angle.
look. See, it's going to be outside. Now he's got number 44, Wayne Smith, beaten right there. Now he goes up for the ball, catches the ball. 1, 2, both feet down.
Back to live action. Robert Newhouse on the handoff carries it to the 7-yard line. Well, the rule says you got to catch the ball and maintain possession, come down and do perform an act common to the game or whatever it is, but it was pretty close. I think that end zone view.
I'd like to see that again. Hey, we got a shot at him. Here he comes. He's outside him. Look at there. It looks like he has the football.
Of course, the official was shielded from the ball by his body.
He must have been bobbling the ball, and the official standing underneath the goalpost could see that better than we could.
Third down, Dallas needing 3 for the first down. They're at the 6-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. White trying to throw for the touchdown, goes to Butch Johnson. And we get a flag thrown, and I think they got the rookie Mack.
No, I'm not so sure they didn't call it on Butch Johnson pushing off. Let's see. It looked like he might have pushed off.
A little one-on-one tussle with Cedric Mack.
Yeah, it looked like he shoved off as I was watching the play develop. Yeah, that's how they're going to call it.
Against Dallas.
Yeah.
Word from below, by the way, is that Willard Harrell of the Cardinals has a twisted right knee and will not return to action.
That's a shame. Had a nice visit with him yesterday, and he's such a nice young man to visit with. He's out of Northern California, played his high school football in Stockton at Edison High School, then went to UOP.
Pass interference, number 86, offense, penalty is declined, it's 4th down.
Let's see it here. Now he's coming off. Now watch him work inside. Now see that. Push it. See him push him off right there. He's leaning into him, and he can't do that. He cannot do that. See, he's actually pushing the defender away from the direction he was going to break.
Septien, who hit one in the first half from 45 yards, will attempt a field goal from 23.
95% accurate in this area. So.
His last miss was in the NFC Championship game last year against the Redskins. Cowboys by 17 with 3:03 left to play.
Now Avis.
Now that will be a great tennis match coming up, so be sure and stay tuned. Septien will kick off for the Cowboys. Just over 3 minutes left to play. 62-yard drive, and it took the Cowboys 6 plays, climaxed by the field goal. And Dallas looks in pretty good shape to register its 2nd straight victory of the young season, and they'll go home to face the Giants. There'll be a home opener next Sunday afternoon, which many of you will see as the second half of our doubleheader. Stump Mitchell to the outside. Oh, I think he pulled a lame.
He did.
I think he pulled a hamstring or something.
Boy, I've seen that happen many times. You get that foot race to the sideline or upfield, you know, on a just a straightaway run, and the running back pull up and tear a hamstring or strain a muscle.
Next week on CBS, doubleheader action. Game 1 for many of you, the Rams and the Packers. Packers, great offense. Dickey is at Lofton for 3 touchdowns this afternoon, and they're still trailing. Those will be the other regional games, depending on where you happen to be. In the second half of the Twin Bill, most of you will see the Giants and the Cowboys.
That'll be a tough physical football game. The Giants are winning today, getting their first win. Philadelphia, Denver will be a good game.
And Minnesota, Tampa Bay will round out the schedule. Jim Hart getting Schumann at the 35-yard line, drops him at the 38, close to the first down for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger. Well, we'll go to Brent.
Frank, that is now a final. Let's go back to Frank Glieber right now.
Back to live action here in St. Louis. Pass completed to Pat Tilley. Hart to Tilley, taking it down to the 35. Put it on the ground again, and Rod Hill came up with it, but it had been whistled dead. So the Cardinal fans who have seen enough turnovers for this afternoon don't have to worry about that one. We do have a flag down on the play.
Offsides. Big Too-Tall just got a little bit anxious.
Penalty, of course.
Offside, 76, defense, penalty is declined. It's first down.
Obviously, they'll take the big gain instead, which will move the ball to the 36-yard line. This is a final score. Well, the Steelers are 2-0.
Bethea was in there in place of Too-Tall getting some work. And I just called Too-Tall. They made a substitution there. That's great. He gets in there and gets some work.
Hart delivers, and no one close to it.
He had to get rid of it. I think he just threw it away or he'd have been sacked. Jim Jeffcoat, number 77, was in there putting some heat on him, the #1 draft choice.
Hart is now 19 out of 32, 263 yards, but he has been intercepted 4 times. The Cardinals have lost 2 fumbles. Stops the clock with 2:16 left to play. There's the numbers on Hart. His first start since November of 1981, which was against the Eagles. And after that ball game, Jim Hannafin made a decision that Neil Lomax was going to be his quarterback of the future.
Well, he just felt it was time to really start building. He didn't want the football team to become a good team and the quarterback not be ready to play.
Short throw over the middle, completes it to Roy Green. It's it inside the 30 to the 28. Everson Walls making the stop, and that'll run the clock down to the 2-minute warning.
Roy Green really is impressive.
And the clock went to 2:01, and the Cardinals stopped it themselves. Now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Frank, it is Jerry Goldstein of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking for Jimmy Giles. Score tied against the Chicago Bears. Under pressure, he forces the pass, and number 44, Terry Schmidt, has got it. And he runs it back 32 yards for the touchdown, and now the Bears lead the Bucs 17-10. The other one, Frank, is a final 2. Pittsburgh over Green Bay, 25-21. Let's go back to Frank Glieber.
Thank you very much, Brent, here in St. Louis. 2 minutes, 1 second left to play. Cowboys leading the Cardinals 34-17. A timeout situation. With 17 down, not much choice except to keep throwing.
Well, they want to get 7 points on the board here. They want to finish with some momentum. They want to get the points because somewhere down the road they may become a playoff team. The point spread margin at the end of the season sometimes enters into the decision of where you play, home field advantage, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think this St. Louis Cardinals team will be very far out of the playoff picture once they really get rolling. I think they'll be right in there battling.
Like the Cowboys, they added 8 rookies this year. And a lot of fine talent. 3rd down as we head back to play. 2 needed for the first down. Cardinals from the Dallas 28. Inside handoff. O.J. Anderson caught behind the line of scrimmage. That one didn't fool the Cowboys. In there quickly was Jim Jeffcoat, number 77, the Cowboys' #1 draft pick from Arizona State. Now we get the official 2-minute warning going to both benches. We'll be back in St. Louis in just a moment. Do or die time for the St. Louis Cardinals. They have a 4th and 5 upcoming from the Dallas 31-yard line, trailing 34-17 with just under 2 minutes left to play. Hartz completes the pass. He's got enough for the first down, but needs a lot more than that at this point as Dexter Klingscale making the tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. Hurry up offense here for the Cardinals as they try to push one into the end zone. Schumann breaking across the middle. Schumann to the 10-yard line.
That pattern's been completed almost every time they've run it, with the widest receiver on the field delaying and coming underneath another receiver pushing the defenders out of there.
Tootie Robbins of the Cardinals limping off the field. He's been bothered by a knee injury. He's limping over to the bench.
This is the first game he's really played in since the trip to England, when they played that preseason game over there. He hurt his knee the first practice back. Randy Clark filled in for him and really played well. They're really high on Tootie, though. Because of his development, they were able to move Deerdorf into center.
Of course, they started 2 rookie tackles last year, which is very rare. Had a #1 pick.
Yeah, it was both of them being on the all-rookie team.
Right, #1 pick and a #4 pick, the other being Louis Sharp. Timeout call by the Cardinals leaves them with 1. Coming up on the NFL Today next Sunday, Herb Cross will have an interesting report on the new no-nonsense Cowboys. You've heard a lot about Tom Landry's getting a lot tougher this year. And Herb will have the story for you. And he'll also have a report on the Rams rookie sensation Eric Dickerson, who is drawing rave reviews around the league. Phyllis will be talking to Eric, who is a former SMU Mustang. These stories and more next Sunday on the NFL Today on CBS Sports. Dickerson and his Rams will be in action against the Green Bay Packers in a game that many of you will see as the first game of the CBS doubleheader next Sunday afternoon. That's a final score. Buffalo over Cincinnati 10-6, so the Bengals are 0-2. Hart wants a consolation touch, trying to reach Otis Anderson. Otis spells his name with 2 T's, which is most unusual. You look at it, you think it's a typographical error.
Yeah.
And it was, in a sense.
It was when he was born. Evidently, the doctor made a mistake and spelled it O-T-T and I-S, and it ended up, they just left it that way.
Put it on the birth certificate.
Put it on the birth certificate. Makes me feel better because I'm a lousy speller, you know, and if a doctor can misspell a word, then it makes me feel better.
Ball is at the 11-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the St. Louis Cardinals. Long afternoon for Jim Hart. Hart loves this game of football, though. Quick throw intended for Anderson.
They can't. They rushed
Jim yesterday if he, you know, you thinking about retiring at all? He says, not really. He said, I want to play as long as they'll have me here. Of course, in the salary range that he is in, you got to wonder a little bit how long you can keep a guy who's 39, 40 years old, as long as he's productive, I suppose.
He is the youngest looking 39-year-old man I've ever seen. You know, this guy is being credited with being a great quarterback, but he's done so much for the community. He's won the NFL Brian Whizzer White Award from the National Football League Players Association as the top humanitarian in the National Football League. That's quite an honor.
He may be 39, but he's still the baby face Jim Hart, which is the way we used to refer to him as a youngster. 3rd down and 10, and Hart caught behind the line, spins away from a tackle, but can't complete the pass. Bates in there quickly, number 40. There's a young man from Tennessee who will, as they say, strike anything that moves.
I think everything starts right here with the right tackle, number 70, having a few problems out there. Art Plunkett. See, and he lets a man get around him right there. Number 77. Or is that Bethea? Excuse me, I think that's number 6. Larry Bethea, their #1 pick. 1976, getting his opportunity to play. But Tootie Robbins has, Art Plunkett, number 70, has played very little. He's playing there at right tackle right now in place of Tootie Robbins.
4th and 10 for the Cardinals from the Dallas 11. We're down to 1:05. Again, Hart in trouble, delivers, and it's almost picked off. Dennis Thurman probably had his 2nd interception of the afternoon. It wasn't there, and the Cowboys will take over. A lot of the fans heading for the exits now if they haven't already. And that will be it for Jim Hart and company offensively. In all probability, they have only one timeout left. I remember when Jim Hart, his second year in this league, 4 days before the season opened, Charlie Johnson was called into the service. I think it was during Vietnam. And he became a starter. Washington leading Philadelphia. Any comment on that?
Well, like I say, that football game can go either way. And Philadelphia, coming off a bad year last year, playing up to the ability of their football team right now, and Marion Campbell doing a great job. They're a playoff caliber team.
Cowboys have inserted Gary Hogeboom at quarterback to run it out here for the last minute or so. Robert Newhouse on the carry. Hogeboom has been spectacular in spurts for the Cowboys, certainly in the second half of the NFC Championship game. Tom Landry insists there was never really a quarterback controversy, that Danny White was his #1 guy.
He's a fine prospect. You know what impresses me more than just his arm is the poise and everything with which he does things, the mannerism. He never seems panicked. He always seems like he's in total control of the situation.
Second down 6.
God, I hate that play in football. I really do. I have no authority, but I always think an offensive team should be forced to advance the football.
Well, as long as it's there, you're going to use it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to do it. That's the way. But my coaches used to drive me crazy on it because I didn't want to work on that play.
Happy birthday, Tom Landry. So the Cowboys have beaten the St. Louis Cardinals for the 9th time in their last 10 meetings.
I don't think that's a surprise, do you? I think that Dallas is a little better right now than St. Louis, but St. Louis is going to be a good football team. They were in the playoff last year for a reason. They were a good football team, and they're going to be again this year.
Our executive producer, the NFL on CBS, Terry O'Neill. Our producer in St. Louis, Charles H. Milton III. Our director, Bob Dunphy. And thanks also to our associate producer, Ernie Bauer. Wilbur Allmeyer. Always nice to see Wilbur here in St. Louis, and our broadcast associate, Lance Barrow. The other folks who helped make it all possible. Cowboys are 2-0, and the Cardinals are 0-2. After 2 weeks of a 16-game NFL season in Dallas, after a very, very slow start once again today, going through the entire first quarter without a single first down, started it going late in the second period, got in front by intermission 17-10, and that was it. Frank Glieber along with Dick Vermeil from St. Louis saying so long, everybody.